What it up? What it do? It's your boy one and the boy two, A2D. Let's go.
Oh, what happened here? Sorry.
Let's go! This ain't the fuck like horses think he stinks!
Oh shit!
It's gone!
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Birds of a Feather once again on HP Radio, brought to you by Manscaped. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code A2D at manscaped.com. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. We are live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and wherever you download your podcasts. So if you're listening to us live, or if you're listening to us on your commute or wherever you listen to your podcast, we greatly appreciate the support. It's your boy Chuck's here with your boy Pete. What's good, brother? How you been?
Man, feeling good. Can't complain. Can't complain. Every time we do our intro, right, I always feel for every chair every time I see Ralphie break it for every fluffy guy. Because I've been in that position, though. I've been in that position.
God.
We just got to realize if your weight, when you get on the scale, that bitch start over a 3, chairs for you ain't meant to be back at past the 45
he was like
degree
leaning
angle, bro.
back too. He was like leaning back like this.
Like he was leaning back to the point where his feet was off the ground, brother. Like we not chairs ain't. They make special chairs for that. Special chairs for that.
Well,
So-
what gets me is Vespi when he's like hitting his hat on the thing, and you can hear it. Like you can legit hear it. And I'm like,
Yes.
damn, I feel bad for the hat. The hat is probably not in good shape right now. So
No.
those are the 2 parts that definitely get me crack up. But people, we appreciate you tuning in for another episode of Birds of a Feather. We are going to do a year in review episode today. We're going to wrap up the NFL season, even though the Super Bowl is like 2 weeks removed. We are going to do one final look back on the year and give you the top plays of the season. We're going to start off with the Eagles, of course, and then we're going to get into the whole NFL. And then we're going to do a little preview. I mean, when free agency comes up, we're going to keep giving you previews of the offseason, but today we're going to start that preview and give some initial thoughts, especially with betting odds. Starting to tell you a little something about what might happen with a certain QB and the Eagles, but we will get to that in the second half of the show. And of course, as always, we will end the show with No Huddle and talk about anything you guys want to talk about: sports, not sports, movies. We have a big movie coming up next week, so we might hint on that. We might talk about it a little bit. So we'll get to that. Pete, I think you're muted.
Let's rip the Band-Aid off. We will not be doing a Birds of a Feather show next week.
No, we will not. And why is
Me
that?
and Chucks will be together because
We will.
we're going to go see the new Batman movie. So
Of course we are.
yeah. Yeah, we won't be here. Well, you may find us somewhere sprinkled in at A2D pop up here and there, but this time slot next week, we will not be on. So
Yes, so we will. Birds of a Feather will have a 1 week hiatus before we get back at you to cover free agency, NFL free agency. But that's 2 weeks away. We will get to you and start talking to you about the season that was the 2021 NFL season and our first quarter of the show, brought to you by eXp Realty. If you're looking to buy or sell a home, if you're looking for a change in career or a brokerage, contact Alan Foy of eXp Realty LLC at 302-682-3600. 8820 or visit him at alan.foy@exprealty.com. The poll question for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Jalen Hurts' ankle-breaking touchdown run versus the Saints was the Eagles' best play of the season. Agree or disagree? And our poll question is brought to you by All Campus, home of A2D's Rand Booth. Remember, they're giving 20% off everything in their store for all their subscribers. So let's do it this way. Guys, if you're listening, give your opinion to the poll. Pete and I are just going to dive right in. We're going to talk about we ranked 5 plays from the Eagles season. And so we will, in doing so, we will answer the poll question when we see what lands at number 1. So, but if you're listening to us, guys, give us your thoughts. Do you think that was the best play of the year for the Eagles? Do you want to start off, Pete, with your number 5?
Yeah. So, real quick, when I look at the best plays, I'm not analyzing the most. When you say best plays and most impactful plays, I think you can get 2 different lists. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can get 2 different lists. So I approach this as the 5 best plays where I felt like the players on the team made an above average to elite play, whatever their skill set is.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine. I think I agree with you. You could do it 2 separate.
Right.
I kind of, that's what I did with the NFL when we get to the NFL. In the second quarter, I kind of split it up because I split it up in terms of regular season and playoffs because a lot of stuff, if you're talking about impact, a lot of stuff in the playoffs obviously is going to have much more impact than anything in the regular season. So I was like, that's kind of skewed. So I separated it that way. So I totally hear you. I for the Eagles though, and let's be honest, I'm going to be honest, looking through some of the plays throughout the year, there really weren't a lot of I'd say highlights. So I kind of just tried to put it all in one, what was impactful plus what was a high difficulty play, an impressive play. So I totally hear you, but there is a distinction. A best play might have a great degree of difficulty required, but not have the most impact when you look at it. But how did you want to approach? Did you want to go with your?
I mean, you're free to do as you will, and a la Dusty Rhodes. I approached it as just making the best athletic play to making it successful. So for me, my number 5 was Alex Singleton's interception return against the Giants in Week 16.
Oh, okay. All right. That just missed the cut for me.
Okay. So you want me to keep going, or do you want to give your 5? Do you want to we snake drafting this thing, or we just running down a list?
We'll snake draft it. We'll go. So I did for my 5, and let's see if you have this ranked at all. I have the block punt versus the Panthers. I think that was this is where I think I tried to include a little bit of everything in terms of impact. So that block punt versus the Panthers, remember they were losing. Eagles were losing that game, and that kind of initiated the comeback. And plus, how many block punts do you get? I mean, through the year. So I think a block punt or a big play on special teams is always going to be a high difficulty play. Special teams, when you make a big play, no one talks about special teams. But when you make a big play on special teams, it's a game changer, and it's always going to be difficult. So that was my number 5. I thought that was that play deserved to make the cut over the Singleton play, but I can definitely see your case for the Singleton play.
Go ahead, 4 for you. So
4 is going to be for me the deep pass from Hurts to Quez Watkins versus the 49ers.
Okay.
And man,
still didn't get any points on that play, on that drive. I still don't understand how.
Well, which one?
On that drive, we get a 95-yard completion with no points.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. I was about to say that this could have been even higher. I think if it was a touchdown or if it led to a touchdown.
Right.
I feel like I can't put that too much against Quez. Obviously, I think he was going full speed. I think the two defenders just caught up to him. But man, if he was able to somehow take us to the house, I think this could have been number 2 or number 1. But it's not number 4 for me because he does get caught, and the fact that it didn't result in any points, it puts a bad taste in your mouth because you think of this and it's just like, oh, it's a great play, but it didn't amount to anything.
Right.
It kind of sucks. So that made my number 4. What's that 4 for you?
4 for me is a Quez Watkins play, but it's not that play.
I think I know. Is it the Cowboys game?
No.
Which one? Go ahead.
They lost this game, but the play and the fact that it led to points. No, actually, you know what? Yes, it is the Cowboys game. It's the play and it led to points, that catch there. And this was a close runner-up. It just edged out someone who we kill in this city. And I honorable mention to Jalen Reagor's touchdown catch against the Raiders.
Ooh, yeah.
That play where he went up and he got it, and he showed you what he could be, just not consistent. But
flash, yeah.
It would be Watkins for me against the Cowboys.
Yeah, that was a really tough.
Was it? Yeah. I mean, he was over the back. It was. I mean, a lot of these plays, and you could probably attest to this as well. We see Jalen Hurts escape in the pocket. Maybe pressure's there. Maybe pressure's not there. But in his mind, he needs to go. He needs to run for his run. And he's on the move in a lot of these throws, especially if you're picking offensive plays. This is where they come from.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt bad not including the Reagor and Quez and the Devontae tiptoe catch against Washington.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Devontae fingertip 2-point conversion catch against the Bucs.
Mm-hmm.
Those were plays I kind of wanted to just squeeze in because they were high difficulty plays. I just personally couldn't because if I was trying to incorporate both high level and impact.
Okay.
So those plays didn't really have much of an impact. Like we were blown out in those games, except for the Washington play. The Washington game, I mean, that was a win.
Okay.
But man, like Devontae, the receivers had some really nice catches this season.
Yeah.
We were back on it. Brinkman does say the Fletcher Cox TD versus Dallas was cool as well. We'll see if that lands in our rankings. And Name Brand also says Devontae's first touchdown one-on-one versus Surtain. So we'll see if either one of those make our rankings. Devontae's first touchdown was I do remember that play being like a really good start to the season. I remember we were all wondering what was going to happen for week one.
That was probably his best game, his best stat game of the year. He had 2 TDs in that game.
Yeah. So
that was like a win against Denver, where I think they had won 5 in a row, maybe 6 in a row at the time.
I don't remember what their record was, but
yeah, it was a winning record at the time. And Denver's Mile High is not an easy place to play.
No, it's not an easy place. Absolutely,
it's not an easy place to play.
So what was your number 3?
So number 3 will actually be. See, I want to give it between the first touchdown for Devontae in that game. But dare I say, someone who may appear on this list twice, and this play goes very, very non-talked about. No, that's not proper grammar, but it's very underrated. It's the first interception for Darius Slay against the Carolina game. If you go watch that drop and how he fully extends to catch that ball, that was the start of that game turning around. I don't think you'll find a more athletic play single-handedly from a skill position on the defensive side of the ball than that play for the Eagles all year.
Yeah, that's a good one. I forgot about that play. That's a good one. That's a very good one. My number 3, same game. I put at number 3 the Devontae touchdown pass, the deep ball touchdown pass from Hurts to Devontae Smith against the Broncos. I think that was, again, a dime by Hurts, but just, again, an incredible catch in the end zone, going up and getting it by Devontae. People forget that Devontae actually, he might be skinny,
We got some
but
hops. We
man,
got some bunnies.
he can go up and get it. He has ball skills, and he that was on full display. So that was my number 3.
Okay.
Number 2, we're on 2 already, right?
Yep.
Did I say, yeah? Number 2 for me, and here we go, is the Hurts touchdown run versus the Saints. So I disagree to the poll. It was very tough. This and number 1, it was very tough for me, but I'm gonna put this on 2. I think this could be more impactful. You can make an argument over my number 1 play, but especially because it was the Saints were coming back in this game. Like I think we were up by 11, but like the Saints had scored like 2 touchdowns really quickly, and so the Eagles had to close it out, and they were marching down the field with Sanders and Hurts running the ball. They were moving the ball effectively, and then it was capped off with this run. And man, like, I know a lot of people were kind of downplaying the case. Then if that was the case, it was really that easy to break a defensive lineman's ankles, then why don't more people do it? Like, you don't see football players in general fall down on a juke very often. So no matter what, it's still an impressive play. And he capitalized, he finished it off with that touchdown to close out the game. So that makes my number 2. But it's not number 1. So I disagree to the poll.
Okay. Number 2 for me, I agree. So I disagree to the poll as well.
Yeah, look at that.
While it was an impactful play, somewhat of a pivotal game in the season, pivotal point in the season, it's nice to look at, but I don't think it's kind of like that one of those things where you get on a run and it's just what you have to accomplish and what I expect from you out of your position. And Jalen Hurts' best attribute, or maybe best attribute that's on the field, is his ability to escape and run. So I kind of expect him to do things like that. You know what I mean? So, I definitely I had to disagree.
Greg also agrees. He's like, he says, "What's up, fellas? I disagree to the poll just because I'll take the field. There's got to be a better play than Jalen running." All right. So your number 1.
I think our number 1s are probably the same.
Yeah, I think so too.
So Darius Slay fumble in Denver.
Yeah, Brigman says he agrees. He says Slay fumbled, fumble recovery. I think there was. Oh well, Jake says he disagrees with the poll. He says his vote goes to the Devontae Smith touchdown catch against the Broncos, which is my number 3. But yeah, Brigman does agree with us. I think that go ahead. You were saying
no, it's the Slay fumble in Denver. I mean, people forget that I think the score of the game at that time was either 20-20 or 20-13, and Denver it was 4th and 1 in Eagles territory. And I think Fletcher Cox forced the fumble. And then Darius Slay picks it up. And it wasn't like he picked it up and just took it to the house. I almost forgot that he did take it to the house. And so I rewatched the play today, prepping for today's show. And then there was at one point, I think it was right at midfield, where he was in the midst of, I want to say 3 to 4 Broncos. And I'm like, okay, well, this is good turnover. This is where return stops. And that my mind was like, okay, he's down here. Then you can visibly see him hit another gear to get through that.
Yeah.
And then take it to the house. I think it was 27-13. I want to believe at the time, because I think Denver was driving to tie the game up. And up until that point, I think they had just put up points on the board and they were on their way to do it again. So that was definitely a big pivotal play. And at that time in the season, I want to say this had to be late October, early November. I think this was the week after the Raiders game, if I'm not mistaken. So like, this is where I think the turning point of the season started. Right, wrong, or different. They were a playoff team, but I think that's where the confidence kind of started at that game.
I'm trying to see now. I'm trying to look back, but
because it was the end of the third quarter too. I could tell you that.
Yeah, and I will say, because I do agree. Again, I do agree. That's my number one. I think, yeah, I'm looking back on it now. I have it here.
Mhm.
It was 20-13. And I think another thing you have to consider is that it was a 4th and 1. So it was 4th down. I think it was it was in our territory and near our 20-yard line. And so 4th down, they were going for it. So they
Mhm.
went for it, and they're being aggressive. And Melvin Gordon got stuffed. And
Mhm.
again, you should have been playing Javonte Williams because he's much better than Melvin Gordon. But that's another argument, another topic for another day. But yeah, they stuff him on 4th down and then cause that fumble.
Mhm.
And I also remember Slay fumbling it. He picked it up. He fumbled it, and I'm like,
Yep.
pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. And he picks it up. Just looks. It kind of, in a way, it's kind of reminiscent of the Deshaun Jackson punt return against the Giants, where he miffed the punt. He miffed the punt return and then picks it up and then kind of like resets himself and runs it back. It's really funny. But yeah, that gets my number one because it's just like he at a time where it went from a play where the Broncos really could have gained more momentum and tied it up, and
Mhm.
quickly, just like that, one play, all of a sudden the Eagles are back up by 2 touchdowns. So it's very, very impressive stuff. I thought that kind of turned the tide that game, because I know the Eagles were winning for much of it, but again, they were losing a little bit of momentum, but that kind of swung things back in our favor. And it was one of them, again, many big plays by Mr. Big Play Slay, who I think we all agree finally started to show and prove that he was
Mhm.
worth every single penny that we
Yep.
paid him. He's what we thought we were. So it's good to see. Great play. I'm trying to think, is there any other play that we didn't mention that deserves? Oh, there was. Sorry, there was one here.
You could the Lane Johnson TD.
The Lane Johnson TD. There was also Ryan Kerr says Jalen Hurts' back shoulder throw to Greg Ward.
That was weeks. Was that the Washington game?
That was a
The
Washington
second
late in the
second
season.
Washington game?
Yeah, late in the season.
Week 15, I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah. You know what's kind of funny about that play? I'm not sure if I talked to you about it. I think I did. But what's his name? JT O'Sullivan broke down that play on his YouTube channel.
Okay.
And he was saying on that play, everyone's saying back shoulder, great throw, right? He's saying it shouldn't have been a back shoulder throw.
Nope.
Greg Ward had his man beat. You threw that in front of Greg Ward. So he was like, he was kind of critical, saying like Jalen throwing back shoulder doesn't make sense.
Right.
But he also did say that he was kind of nitpicking because it ended up in a touchdown, so you can't complain too much. But he did say that shouldn't have been a back shoulder.
Back shoulder, right?
So it is what it is. I think that regardless, it was a great play by Greg Ward. Regardless of how you see the Hurts throw, I think Greg Ward made a really good touchdown, with a really good touchdown grab there. He doesn't. It's funny because he's the type of guy that doesn't do much all year. I think he's showing that, but then he'll make like a couple really impressive plays throughout the season.
Yeah.
I think 3 years in a row now. You're talking about 2000.
It's always enough. It's always enough to like be like, hey, remember me? I'm still here.
Yeah, it's good.
Like, I'm still here.
Hey man, like if he stays on the team as kind of like the wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5, yeah, I'm good with it. He's a special teamer, makes big plays a couple of times a year. I'm good with it. You could do far worse.
Oh yeah,
you could do far worse.
We have done far worse.
Yeah, we have.
Jared Sturgill asks us. He says, "Will there be an MLB season?" We'll see on Tuesday. We'll see. We'll see on Tuesday. They gave him the ultimatum. We'll see if the players' union buckles to the owners' demands.
You know me. It doesn't really matter to me. I don't watch baseball. So
this is true. I mean, they don't do it. They don't do themselves any favors by making it unwatchable. I will say that.
My friend has the same take too. I talked to him about it. He's like, yeah, baseball doesn't help itself at all. Ryan Kerr does say Greg Ward could be a Jason Devon type piece. I don't think could be anymore. I think Greg Ward is what he is. I think there's no really like unlocking anything. I think he's a poor man's Jason Avant. I made that comparison a couple years ago. He's not as good as Avant. Avant was a legit wide receiver 3, slot receiver, caught everything, route technician. So like Avant was better, much better than Ward, but in a similar mold, Ward is reliable, dependable, catches almost everything thrown to him. So yeah, he's like a poor man's Jason Devon. All right, any other plays you want to touch on before we get to the whole NFL?
That's the problem. This team is devoid of talent. You know what I mean? It's hard to you don't have that many that you can go over.
No, there's really not. There's really not many.
No,
there really aren't many. It was difficult. It was difficult. All right, lead us into the second quarter, Pete. Who we got?
So Q2 second quarter is brought to you by BetUS. It's a leading online sportsbook has been in the market for over 25 years. You can bet anywhere in the U.S. on everything. When we say everything, we mean everything. Use the link in the chat, promo code A2D for 125% sign-up bonus.
Sweet. So, guys, definitely head on over to BetUS. Get signed up. It's a great deal.
And I believe we actually put the link on the show description for those that don't watch us and just catch the audio only. So you should see it there as well.
Yeah, if you want to grab it there. All right, let's get to the whole landscape. And guys, if you want to still talk about Eagles top plays, feel free to contribute. But the whole league. So I told you how I broke it down. I did regular season and playoffs. How did you do it so that we can try to see how we want to approach this?
I didn't incorporate playoffs, but I mean, we could probably I probably can give you 5, definitely 3, 5 maybe a stretch, but definitely 3 from the playoffs. Like easy, probably.
Oh, easy.
Yeah.
I was thinking playoffs, and I was like, "Oh yeah, there's 3 easy that I can."
Easy. But 5, I have 5. It depends on what you look for. Like I probably have 1 defensive one on. You may remember it was an interception, but I don't know how he kept his feet in bounds. And there's a couple other ones. There's some players that are on here. Kind of similar plays, but one play that the player made, which turned into a touchdown, was definitely looked better. I would say maybe not as it's still explosive, but just it didn't look like it was going to turn into 6 points.
Yeah,
we need to find a Cooper Kupp in the third. I think you already have a Cooper Kupp on this team, and that's Devontae Smith. They need to get somebody else on the outside.
We need
an
OBJ type player to
you need to move Devontae inside and get him favorable matchups in space.
Yep. So let's do regular season then.
Okay. You want to start us off?
I'll start off this one. So my number 5. It'll be interesting to see how much we differ because there's so many places to choose from. I personally, I don't know how you did it. I personally went. I looked on YouTube and looked at NFL highlights. Just so there's so many. So I went through the top 50. And I was like, all right, which ones do I like better? And so there were definitely some that I took from the teens, and I was like, no, this is definitely better. So I didn't necessarily agree with how they rank stuff, but for the most part, I got an idea of the best plays. So my number 5. Which kind of says a lot to us because when you think about it, this play is high difficulty. It's rare, so maybe it should be higher, but I kind of do like the other plays more in terms of impact. So number 5, I did the Baker Mayfield Hail Mary touchdown
to
Donovan Jones, DPJ, before halftime. I forget who that was against, but
I was actually against the Niners.
Was it the Niners?
Yeah. No, the Cardinals. I'm sorry.
Cardinals. Cardinals.
Cardinals.
Okay, so I have them I have that at number 5.
Okay.
And it's a Hail Mary. Like, it's weird. So that's the 5th best play of the season, but I don't know. I like the other one.
My 5th best play is week. I remember the week it was, but it was a Cardinals San Fran game, and it was the toe tap from Rondale Moore.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. That was insane.
Yeah.
That was an insane catch. That was really. I like Rondale Moore a lot. I don't
Him
think
and Elijah Moore, man.
Yeah, all the Moores. God, if we could have gotten one of the Moores. Rondale is so good though. He's like your perfect, like, I don't want to say gadget guy, but like he's your open space type of guy. You want to get him the ball a couple of times a game and get him open space and watch him make a play. He's so good. But yeah, that was an insane catch versus the Niners. That's a good one. Number 4.
Number 4 for me, also a toe tap. This is what I'm talking about. Cowboys Saints, Javon Curse.
Yeah.
I don't know how his toes stayed down.
I don't know either.
And he was stretched out and how his knees didn't touch.
Yeah, I don't know either. That was insane. That's a good one. My number 4 is, and remember, I'm doing this because I included impact too. But number 4 is the Justin Tucker game-winning field goal versus the Lions in Week 4. And if you remember, the Lions had no business losing that game, but Tucker hits that field goal. And I forget how it was a long-ass field goal too, and it hit the crossbar, and then bounced over and in for the winning field goal. And it was just insane. And so that was my number 4 because of not only hitting the crossbar and going in, but just giving the Lions a loss when they shouldn't have lost that game.
Right.
So. And then, we're going to 3. So it's my turn. 3, I really like this play. The game-winning touchdown run by Jonathan Taylor against the Patriots. Like, that game was one of the best games of the year, and it was capped off and capitalized by that great run. I mean, and it's not like Taylor was. It was like an easy run for Taylor. Taylor had to see that hole between the tackles. It was a tight hole, burst through it, and then you see the wheels. This guy has wheels. Because
that second gear, man.
He doesn't have the angle on the safety. The safety has an advantageous angle. But Taylor, he can scoot. So, like, once he was in the second level, man, he just hit the afterburners. He was gone. That safety had no chance. No chance. So, that was my number 3 best play from the year.
Okay, so number 3 for me will probably be the Jamal Agnew run back, the 106-yard run back.
Yeah. Okay.
It was tough. You really can kind of put that one and then the Jakeem Grant against the punt return. Was it? I don't think it's Jakeem Grant, number 17 from Chicago against the Packers.
Jakeem Grant.
It is Jakeem Grant. Okay.
Yeah.
You could put that one in there too, just because they're in the same category that we talked about with special teams. How you mentioned when you regard to the Eagles. But that would be my number 3. Number 2, and this dude can just share him. He won Offensive Rookie of the Year. Jamar Chase, the slant touchdown that he broke Marlon Humphrey's feet, his ankles, and then in traffic took contact, broke 3 tackles, and somehow kept his balance and took it 60-some-odd yards for a touchdown.
That it's funny because the 2 plays you said, that's my 2 and my 1. So my 2 was a Jamal Agnew 109-yard field goal attempt touchdown return versus the Cardinals. And then my number 1 was the Jamar Chase play.
Okay.
I just, again, like, him being able to do all of that is insane. Jamar Chase. And it kind of is like, I don't want to say poetic, but like it kind of also pushes the narrative because Jamar Chase's season was unbelievable. So it's kind of just like it's a highlight from one of the best players in the league already, one of the best rookies that we've seen. So that was my number 1. What was your number 1?
My number one was Justin Tucker's field goal. And the simple fact
That was
is,
number one.
yeah, the simple fact is because everything we talked about, Jonathan Taylor's run, the run backs on even Jamar Chase, and even Jamal Agnew, Jakeem Grant, the toe taps we've seen shit like that before. We've never seen a 66-yard field goal until this year. It's the first of its kind, and it was do it to win a game, not just some random third quarter, second quarter, first quarter.
Yeah,
it's
game winner.
It's him going up to Harbaugh and like Harbaugh looking at him and having the faith to even attempt it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yep.
So I had to go with Justin Tucker because it was the first time we seen that.
I'm not going to argue too much against that. It's very good points. Yeah, we have. Let's see. Blue City Empire Sports, Mr. Giants fan here, chimes in. What's going on? He says it looks like Jamar Chase is better than Devontae. Chase will win Rookie of the Year. Chase won Rookie of the Year. I don't know if you're a few weeks late. First of all, the awards were already announced a couple weeks ago. Yep. And yes, you saying this doesn't really
push my buttons.
Like it doesn't push our buttons. Like I forget about Pete, but I had Jamar Chase as the best wide receiver in that class, and I wanted him over Devontae Smith. Doesn't mean that I didn't want Devontae Smith. I still had Devontae Smith as a top 10 player overall in that draft class. Mm-hmm. I just had Jamar Chase as like
two different receivers.
Yeah,
just on paper and what they do and what they're good at, what their traits are, but also two completely different situations.
Yeah.
I mean, you can almost look at Jamar Chase, and he exacerbated the talent that he had around him. Forget Devontae Smith. I think he kind of had those numbers in spite of his quarterback, in spite of the system that he had to play in.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Exactly. We're not taking anything away from Jamar Chase because Jamar Chase, regardless, he's a stud. No matter who is throwing the ball, he's a stud. He's amazing, but. You have to also consider who's throwing Devontae the ball, and we say this all the time. Like Devontae Smith has shown he is a high talent. Like he's and it's not his fault that the quarterback is limited. Is limited in that regard.
His quarterback is limited. The offense is limited because of the quarterback's limitations. So he's not in the average. We'll get into that in Q3, just what we're talking about with the offseason. But yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you're absolutely right. Talent is talent.
Talent's talent, yeah.
People forget. So honestly, real shit. The two defensive rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year, both didn't play in 2020.
How crazy is that, right? How crazy is that?
Neither one of them played yet.
And people tried to going into that draft. People tried to argue. They were like, "Oh, they didn't play a year. That's a big knock on them. That's a red flag."
Yep.
Talent is talent. If you're a high end talent, you're gonna be fine. Like I understood there were some like you want to make sure that their year off didn't like get fat or anything. But once we saw that they were in shape, talent's talent. Like.
Yeah. These guys didn't forget how to play football.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
They didn't get fat. Jamar Chase, Micah Parsons, other guys. I mean, we even took one that missed a year of football. Kenny Gainwell in the 5th round. Like he made plays this year for us. So and thank God. Actually, you could also argue if Gainwell had played his final year in college,
he doesn't
make it to the 5th round.
Yep.
He gets taken maybe probably day 2. Mm-hmm. I had a day 2. I had a round 3 grade on him. I
had a round 3 grade on him.
Yeah. So good stuff. Now I will let's. I don't want to rank these.
Okay.
So we'll just rattle off some. We won't do snake draft. So I'll just go. I'll just mention the plays that I have. The 5 memorable plays from the playoffs.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have the deep pass to Cooper Kupp at the end of the Rams Bucks game. Talk about like that is insanely clutch because the Bucks came back, had all the momentum. If that game goes to overtime,
Yeah.
I think the Bucks win it because they had all the momentum in the world. But with one pass from Stafford to Cup,
And he knew he was about to get ate up.
yeah,
He knew he was about to get
it's
lit.
like so incredibly clutch. So
Yeah.
that makes it. I want to also say the I have the Josh Allen
Got to.
touchdown to Gabe Davis on
Which
fourth
one?
down.
There was 4.
There were 4 of them. But this one specifically, with less than 2 minutes left, on fourth down, touchdown to Gabe Davis to give him the lead. That was insane. I remember watching that. I'm like, oh my God, he's wide open.
Yep.
That was incredible. I also have Von Bell's interception in overtime against the Chiefs. And Von Bell gets credit for the interception, but that's a play that gets credited to the whole Bengals defense. We broke it down here a couple weeks ago when we were recapping that game. But the whole defense played amazingly well on that play, and it was capped off with Bell's interception. What they were able to do in overtime, holding the Chiefs' offense like that's incredible. Clutch.
Yes.
Like that interception pretty much sealed the game. I have also the 49ers blocked punt versus Green Bay, which resulted in a touchdown. I think that tied the game, if I recall. I think it tied the game.
Yeah, yes.
And I remember watching it and I couldn't believe it. They block it, they score a touchdown. I'm like, is this
10-10.
really happening?
Yep.
Like they're about to tie the game. Like I couldn't believe it. And then for me, the number one play from the playoffs, like in terms of impact plus high difficulty, is a Tyreek Hill touchdown running catch versus the Bills. It wasn't the final score of the game. Like
But
it
led them to the final. Yeah.
But man, like this was the drive following that Josh Allen to Gabe Davis touchdown with less than 2 minutes left. This was a drive right after that.
Yep.
And Tyreek Hill, he took that short pass, and you knew the second he hit that extra gear, he was gone.
Yep.
No one caught him. No one could catch him. So that was my number one play from the playoffs. It feels weird not having plays from the Super Bowl, and there were a bunch of great plays in the Super Bowl. You got
the one-handed Jamar Chase catch.
Yes, the one-handed Jamar Chase catch. The touchdown, the game-winning touchdown. Aaron Donald's sack to seal the game. Incredible. Yep. So I feel wrong on having that in, but there were so many great plays in the playoffs. So I just had to pick 5. So that's what I got. So what do you have?
I pretty much had the same exact 5. Like I said, I didn't have it in that order. Debo's screen pass catch against in the NFC Championship game.
Oh, that's another good one.
That one, you can also say the one he had in the wild card round against the Cowboys. That was another one.
Another one. Oh my god.
Speaking to that game specifically, Ayuk's route in that third quarter. I was going to say third quarter.
Oh, on Diggs.
Yeah.
On Diggs, yes.
Yeah, when he could put him in a turnstile. That one. Honorable mention. I think it was said. I believe Philly fan 26-65. Kelsey TD and OT in that same game in the divisional round. Yeah. That backstory there. I did leave a playoff in the regular season though. Did I want to give honorable mention?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Probably the best regular season game of the year. Week 18, close out the season. Mike, was it that game or the week before?
Which one?
It wasn't that game. It was the week before. Maybe the week before.
Chiefs. Are you talking about the Chiefs?
No. It was the Chargers versus the Steelers. Was that the one?
Oh, yeah.
The Mike Williams catch? Yeah.
Where
I don't know what happened and it got blown. I think that was like a couple weeks before. That wasn't but he also had a crazy that week 18 Chargers Raiders game was crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy how. What do you think this is to speak about this before we get into the third quarter? A lot of the plays that we pick, mostly all offensive. Is it that I know you said Aaron Donald in the playoffs in the Super Bowl. I mean, he really did an NFC title game and then also in the Super Bowl. Whatever the reason, the Bengals, you gotta stand up for Joe Burrow. He was on his way out, but until then, I think Donald kind of had resided himself to the fact that I may not get this ring until one of the offensive linemen woke him up, like Warren Sapp said on Rich Eisen show. He's like, "You just woke up with beast. Like, why would you do that?" And you saw what happened afterwards. But just even going back to the regular season and in the playoffs, like even as I wouldn't call ourselves analysts, I would call ourselves more bird's eye view fans that just have a little bit better knowledge than the casual fan. I would kind of put us there on that rung of the ladder. But the NFL markets itself to condition you to not think about defense. Like, defense doesn't stand out in your mind like that.
Yeah.
You don't see it on highlights like that. You watch the top 50 plays. I wonder how many or if any were defensive at all.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm pretty sure Micah Parsons got some crazy plays in there somewhere.
I think nature of the beast too. They don't consider a defensive play a highlight, unless if it's like a turnover. Right. So if the defense gets a turnover, or if they're not turning the ball over, or you know what I mean, like they're not going to say, because the offense can make a highlight reel play, but not have it not be a touchdown. Like we talked about it, like the long pass to Quez. It wasn't a touchdown, but it gets recognition as a highlight, right? But the defense can have a great play, a tackle for a loss, a crucial sack, but it's not going to make the highlight reels because it's not a turnover. And so the nature of the beast, like, the defense is at an unfair advantage when it comes to media showing these highlight plays. And I don't think it's fair, because I think you'd agree. I enjoy watching great defensive play too. But the average casual fan, like you said, they're not going to really understand the gravity of great defensive plays that aren't turnovers, which is unfortunate.
Philly fans 2665, he says he agree. I'm not sure he's agreeing. To the Kyler pick six is one of the worst plays. It was bad, but was Jalen's super late throw for interception against Tampa Bay any better? It may not look as bad as Kyler's, but there's no way that ball should have came out then and there.
I will say Kyler's is worse.
Okay.
But Hurts was still bad. Yeah, Hurts was still bad.
Okay.
But Kyler's was worse. Kyler's was so bad. Like you knew the second he was cocking his arm back to throw it, like I remember thinking in my head, what are you doing?
Yeah, what do you see?
What are you doing? Don't throw it. Oh, that was horrible. One of the worst plays I've seen all year.
Don't do it. Oh, he gonna do it.
You gonna do it. I did it. I did it.
I did it.
It was so bad. But I'm trying to think of anything else from the playoffs. Was there anything else in the playoffs where we were missing? Like, it was funny because in the wild card round, there really weren't a lot of highlight plays.
Would you give? So I'll put you on the spot here. Best overall performer in the playoffs as a whole, offense or defense?
Shoot. Okay. Let me rattle off names for consideration. All right. So Joe Burrow, Aaron Donald, Deebo Samuel, Cooper Kupp, Matt Stafford. Anyone else I'm missing?
I have mine. I have my one.
You
and
have
my
yours
two already. That was just literally me thinking of it on the fly.
Okay, I'm gonna be biased. I'll just put this out there. I'm gonna be biased, and I'm gonna say Deebo.
Okay.
I think Deebo. I mean, like they didn't make it to the Super Bowl, but Deebo is just he carried that team to as far as they could. I think we all know that he carried that. He was the 49ers offense pretty much. So I think the way he performed throughout the playoffs was amazing. And I think that if the 49ers somehow would have made it to the Super Bowl, I think Deebo would have had another amazing game and would have won Super Bowl MVP.
Okay.
So I think I'm gonna be biased because I love Deebo. I'm gonna say Debo, but you can make a case for a lot of other players. But
All
who
right.
would you pick?
So 2 was Burrow. His game against Tennessee to get sacked 9 times and still come out with a win. My number 1 probably definitely would have won MVP. And he had one less game than everybody else that you mentioned, and that's Josh Allen. Josh Allen's game against that
good one. That's who else
I've never felt as bad for someone to lose that was non-Eagles than him.
Amen.
That game was just, dude, ridiculous. To answer that call, to get yourself back in the game, and then you had the Tyreek Hill peace sign, which was your number 1 player of the playoffs overall, to come back and then answer that again.
Yeah. Insane.
If he made it to the Super Bowl, he definitely won MVP. And that's the crazy thing. If they win that game, they're probably going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree. 100% agree. 100% agree. Bills, and then you're looking at Bills-Rams. I still would have picked the Rams to win it.
Right.
But, I think the Bills make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely seeing how Leslie Frazier takes that step, that Sean McDermott takes that zone scheme approach.
Yeah.
It would definitely have been funny. It definitely been and even the Super Bowl that we got was good. But I think that would have been a higher scoring affair, more evenly matched. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, I hate to say this, and I hope nobody in Cincinnati sees this, but if you do, don't at me. I feel like if Cincinnati would have went on to win the Super Bowl based on how the Rams played, I felt like the Rams would have lost it more than Cincinnati would have won it.
Yeah.
Especially with Odell going down.
Yeah, I think the Bengals, when they were winning, it was more due to a couple of pivotal plays more so than consistent control of the game. It was similar to what I had said the week before, like 2 weeks before, in the Rams-Niners game. The Niners were winning going into the fourth quarter, but I just felt like up until most of the game, the Rams were in control. And the same thing for the Super Bowl. Like, the Bengals were winning. They got the lead in the third quarter. But I just felt like the Rams were in control. Like they were moving the ball easier on offense, and the Bengals just couldn't get anything together. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I just felt like the Rams were always getting control. And it's one of those things I was talking to Nate about on Twitter too, because he was surprised I had made that comment. I'm just like, when you think about it, it's hard to really explain how you can tell a team is more so in control of a game, and it doesn't always mean that they win. We've seen all the time. I'd say that the Packers were in control of that Niners game for most of the game, but it came down to the very last minute where they
you look at the Eagles, the first Eagles-Giants game. The Eagles, for the most part,
were in control.
of that game.
Yeah, but they just big plays, and that's big. That's the thing. You can be in control, but huge plays can make a difference. Turnovers, explosive plays, they can make a huge difference in the game. But yeah, I think the Rams, not to get too off on a tangent, but yeah, I think the Rams were just too much in control against the Bengals. The Bengals just needed a few huge plays to stand a chance, and they were close, but they weren't the better team, and we could tell that. It would have been interesting to see the Bills if they had gotten to the Super Bowl, or even the Chiefs. I mean, even if the Chiefs got to the Super Bowl versus the Rams, either or, how much of a different game that would be. And I'm not taking anything away from the Bengals. I love the Bengals, and I was happy for them to get there. And again, the mystique of Joe Burrow, the legend of Joe Burrow already. We love Joe Burrow, and everything like that. So the Bengals deserve to be there. I think I'm just saying that it still would have been interesting to see the Chiefs or the Bills in there too. All right, you want to switch it over to the third quarter?
Yes, sir.
All right, the third quarter, ladies and gentlemen. Third quarter, ladies and gentlemen, is brought to you by our doc Paul Vidal at Specialized Physical Therapy.com. He's got locations in Burlington and Cherry Hill. So make them yours. SpecializedPhysicalTherapy.com. So we've got an off season that should be a lot of fun upcoming. And like I said earlier in the show, we have plenty of off seasons to dive into it, give a little preview. But let's start to talk now. Let's dive a little. Let's get into shallow waters of the.
Do we have the date so we can frame this for the fam?
So, free agency starts middle of March. I think. Hold on, I kept looking it up. Free agency, NFL free agency 2022 start. It's like March 16th. Yes. So remember, March 16th, which is a Wednesday, is the official start of NFL free agency. But March 14th, which is a Monday, that's the start of the legal tampering period. So that's really when free agency starts.
I think it actually starts at the combine, me personally.
Free agency?
I think that's where the tampering starts.
Okay. I hear
because you got GMs, coaches, and agents all in the same domain. Which I think they actually did they move it this year? I don't think it's in Indy this year. It's on the road, I think.
Let me see. Where is
it's either this year or next year? They're taking on the road. They're treating it like it's the draft.
It's still in Indy. This
is the last year. It's in Indy. The 2023 one is I think it's Tennessee.
Yeah. I remember that now. You're right. But yeah, it's still in Indy.
Oh, Kansas City. It's going to be I think it's going to be the site of the draft.
Cool. Next year. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So let's, however you want to talk about this, because
are we talking about the offseason as a whole or offseason
as a whole? So dive into whatever you want to talk about.
Oh, wow.
I know we talked about, you brought this up. You had brought this up in our A2D chat.
Okay.
The betting odds. So let's talk about that first. Mm-hmm. The betting odds of one, Mr. Russell Wilson.
Okay.
They started off, I think I remember on Twitter, they had started off initially like really, really, really low. I think it was
40 to 50, 40 to 1, 50 to 1. We're talking about the Eagles odds.
I think it started off even higher.
Really?
I think it was I mean lower, higher, lower, however. Like I think the odds were even lower than that.
Okay.
If I remember correctly. They weren't even like top 10 in odds. Like they were very low. Very, very low. And I was like considering like, this is really low. Maybe I should buy into this. But quickly, in a matter of days, they shot up. And I think, what did you say it's at now?
It's a 4 to 1 or 5 to 1. That's where it was at 72 hours ago, I believe.
4 to 1. Roughly 4 to 1 that Russell Wilson will go to the Eagles. So let me pose this.
Mm-hmm.
How realistic do you think it is that the Eagles are considering trading for Russell Wilson?
So I'll look at this in two ways. How realistic do I think he gets traded? And how realistic do I think it's the Eagles as a landing spot? And we'll just give a scale like 1 to 10. You can quantify the percentage based off of that. I think it's 70% he gets traded.
You think so? Most likely, you think he's out.
I think he's most likely to get traded. Yes.
Okay.
Chances he's an Eagle, because remember, Russ has a no trade clause in his contract, so he knows where he's going. So chances he comes to the Eagles, I would probably give that. I probably would handicap it at the same for probably 40%. 40, I'm probably 46.
4 to 1 isn't 4 to 1 like 21%.
4 to 1 is like, so if you put 100, if you bet 100, I think you're winning 400, if I'm not mistaken. So your total payout's around 5.
Yeah. But like in terms of likelihood, your odds, that's a 25% chance because you're quadrupling.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
25% chance. So you're saying a 25% chance.
25%.
Okay.
And that's just because, once again, he has to look at the situation that he's going to and feels like it's better than what he's in Seattle. And think he has a realistic chance to win. And then, I mean, what we've heard, obviously, and I know you'll talk about that, what I talked about, the compensation. And the reason why and this is kind of frame it real quick, the reason why these odds change so drastically and within a week is because, yes, no one's publicly coming out and saying anything, But there's people talking. There's people talking in inner circles like Albert Breer. They're hearing things that this is now potentially a realistic possibility. And today, I don't know what it is with this generation. Not I can say this generation, but this day and age in social media, when ultimately, if you just take someone out of your bio on any social media platform, that means the world is erupting. It no longer rotates. Is spinning on its axis. Like it's just ridiculous. Like you get blocked, or you take somebody out, or you update this, you update that. Like literally, I mean, it's a little bit different, but right now, no lie, no shit in you. Like if I go to my Facebook and I said, change my status from married to it's complicated, my phone will probably start blowing the fuck up. You know what I mean? Yep. Just off of that update. So Russell Wilson removed the Seahawks from his profile on whatever platform. I don't know what platform. I couldn't even tell you. But now where the people are saying where the smoke, there's fire. So you have to ask yourself, this is why I say 25%, which is still high. You feel what I'm saying? I think that's still a fair number.
When you compare it to the field.
When you compare it to the field, the Eagles have the resources to make Seattle happy. I don't think it's what Colin Cowherd said yesterday. 3 picks this year. Nobody's doing that shit, Colin. Go.
I am not giving that shit up.
Chill in LA and shut the fuck up. But the realistic, and we said it before. I think you had posed a trade in the same chat a couple of weeks, but like maybe a week or so before I came back with this news, and people were saying, no, I'm not doing it if it's 2 picks, if it's all 3 picks this year. But if I could stretch that pick to next year, then people who were on the fence, it went from I'll do the deal, but I'm not really happy with it, to okay, that's a great deal. That's a deal I can live with. We're giving up 2 picks this year. I think it was 2 picks this year. No, 1 pick, 1 first this year, a third this year, and a first next year.
Yeah,
that's a realistic deal, because at the end of the day, if no one out this, and this is the biggest thing, this is what people are not realizing. Russ has to have a market. You see what I'm saying? Russ has to have a market. And before they did the Trey Lance trade, the San Francisco, they would have had picks to play with us. You see what I'm saying? Everybody else that we heard him linked to, they weren't a playoff team last year. They didn't have a winning record.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? They don't have additional resources. They don't have to sell the farm. If they sell the farm, they're not going to have anything to be able to build a team. Could Washington be an attractive place for him? Possibly. Can the Giants be an attractive place for him? Possibly.
No. Tell me no.
I hear you. I hear you. But I'm just saying.
New York is an attractive place for him. The Giants franchise is not an attractive place.
But that's what I'm saying. So you have to think about the 2 different things. But like the Giants have 2 first-round picks, so they had the picks to be able to satisfy Seattle. But do they have a situation conducive for Russ that he feels if it's going to be better than what he had in Seattle and have a better chance to win? Because ultimately, he's been dealing with the same talk since 2013. 2013, he's been dealing with the same talk. Like the defense, the Legion of Doom won that ring. And ever since the Legion of Doom has been gone, you haven't been able to do it on your own. So now he has a chip on the shoulder, right, wrong, or different.
Yeah,
and now he's looking for a better situation. So that's the only other thing I can say is, if somehow, some way, Rodgers doesn't want to go back to Green Bay, he gets traded to Denver. Now Green Bay is sitting on these picks that they have from Denver, and then Green Bay then says, "All right, let's go get Russell Wilson in." And then they keep Devontae, and they tag Devontae. But that's the thing. Like the pool that wants Russ, that's in the hat right now with the Eagles. Out of those teams, you cannot sell me on a team that can be, as a whole, either equal to or more attracted than the Eagles as a destination.
Yeah, there's the Eagles offensively. Like if you're just talking about offensive side of the ball, we're not that far off. No. We really aren't that far off.
Best offensive line he's ever played behind from day one.
Offensive line is a top 5 unit in the league at worst, if not even better. We have a up-and-coming star wide receiver. We have an up-and-coming star tight end. Mm-hmm. Our running backs are good. Okay, we have good running backs. And yeah, I mean, like offensively, we're missing depth at wide receiver. That's what we're missing. Like,
Right. And I want to address this Steven's comment. He says, we're not a QB away from stop talking about the QB position. Listen, I get it. I understand that. But you're not about to sit here and tell me that the biggest team in this area that has the strongest fan base, you want to sit here and sit on these 3 picks with a dude who you don't know if the picks is going to be right and then mail it in every year. We're talking about 17 games of football, 17 weekends, 18 when you count the bye week. You ready to mail it in and say you're going to sit on your hands because you don't have a chance to win. Where were the Bengals at last year?
Exactly.
They were 4-11-1, and this year they played for the Super Bowl. I'm not sitting here saying right now, does it look murky? Is Russell Wilson or any other QB going to be the answer to all our prayers? No, but guess what? The fucking Super Bowl we had, we caught lightning in the bottle. Wasn't talent. It wasn't well thought out by Howie. It was some darts he threw at the board. Them bitches happened to stick, and you caught lightning in the bottle because the dude that led us there, he ain't been the same since, and the dude that built the foundation, he ain't been the same since either. So,
I feel like when people throw that out there, they expect the team to be like have no weaknesses,
right?
Not at all from top to bottom. And I'm like, you look at any Super Bowl winning team, even a team that makes it to the Super Bowl, they still have weaknesses. They still have flaws. When we won the Super Bowl, we still had holes on the roster.
Game and matchups, man.
Like it's you look at the Bengals, they have a horrible offensive line. A horrible offensive line with a defense that doesn't have any superstars on it.
Right.
So like what makes you think what makes you believe they got to the Super Bowl then? Like they have a franchise quarterback. You need we're not only a QB away, but it's harder to find a QB than it is to plug in all the rest of the holes. A great QB, and I've said this so many times, a great QB covers up the flaws and deficiencies of a team more than a great team covers up the flaws of your starting quarterback.
Because at some point, that QB has to do something that's above their rank, above their skill set. You know what I mean? And like, people keep forgetting, we still have 11 picks, and you have cap space. Like, so you have the Eagles have never been in this position before.
You give away 2 first-round picks, one this year, one next year, and then a third-round pick. You still have plenty of picks to fill the roster. You still have plenty of picks to fill the roster.
I'm laughing at Don's comment. What's up, Don? Free Jawan, goddamn. It's a slap on the wrist, man. I try. Listen. I'm gonna say this real quick on this situation. I was gonna save it for no huddle, but I'll get it out. Anytime you confront a man in a competition that you just beat them, and you want to feel, and I say the words to you, Chucks. Let me explain myself. I need to explain this to you. That automatically makes you feel belittled. It feels less important. It makes me feel like a stance like I'm above you. And then you try to exit the conversation, and then you put your hands on me. Then we have a problem.
Yeah.
And you saw Jawan been a goon since the Fab Five. Like he always been a light-skinned goon that you don't play with. You just don't talk to that dude. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Okay, that's all I got to say.
Phillies fan says our linebackers in 2017 when we won the Super Bowl, our linebackers weren't great. They weren't.
That's like we're so period. And it's all about matchup. If the Rams matched up with the Bills, different. The Rams matched up with the Chiefs, different. But they didn't get there, and this goes to show the Rams had tougher matchups with teams that were already out of the playoffs. But the Chiefs didn't match up with the Bengals well in the way that the Bengals were trying to play them, and the way the Bengals did play them. And the Bills ultimately were the better team in the divisional round. They just 13 seconds, whatever it was, they just shit got out of control.
Yeah.
And the Niners, no fucking way they should have beat Green Bay in that game. No way.
And let's put it this way: the Niners make it to the Super Bowl, possibly even win the Super Bowl if they had a franchise quarterback. With that team, and that coach, If
they had
a
a Wilson, oh my God,
they win the Super Bowl. I make a strong case they win the Super Bowl. But because they had Jimmy G, who's limited, that held that team back. It just did. And they weren't when it came time for them to make a play late, Jimmy G couldn't do it. No matter how good the Niners team was, no matter
how good the scheme is, how wide open it
doesn't
is.
matter. Jimmy G couldn't make a play. And the Rams and Matt Stafford could. And that's why they got Matt Stafford. Because the Rams
prime example.
Yeah.
Prime example. When you said we not a QB away. Listen, let's sneed this shit. Fuck them picks. That's what he did.
Yeah.
And that was a number 1 overall pick from let me just put it, number 1 overall pick from 2016. He gave up 2 firsts and a third, plus his number 1 overall pick from 2016 to go trade for the number 1 overall pick from 2009. 2009, almost when Matt Stafford got drafted, Jared Goff wasn't even in high school yet. This dude probably didn't even graduate 8th grade. You see what I'm saying? So when you know you need to put your team in the best position to try to win.
Yeah.
Before snap is even played. In order for the Eagles to do that, they need to upgrade their QB position. By all means, if they don't do it, me and Chuck are not sitting here saying let's give up everything. We're not saying that. If the deal is reasonable, you make the deal. If the deal is not reasonable, then you ride out with Jalen and you try to build around them, and you just on to 2023. But that mentality, that's cool for y'all to say that shit now in February. Wait till you in season, and we've never had a seat. Listen. You can attest to this, right, Chucks? I'm pointing at it wrong. You can attest to this, Chucks. I forget the opposites, right? You can attest to this shit. I'm 39 years old. I think you're what, 36?
35, about to be 36.
About to be 36. We go back to where Rich Kotite days, bro. Anybody that's, I would say, 25 and younger, y'all haven't felt Eagles football like that.
Yeah,
and what y'all asking for, that's what y'all want. Y'all not built in this generation. Y'all not built for that 3-13, 4-12 shit. You can't TTP football. You can't trust the process to NFL because there's too many other things and other variables that can happen where you can. Chris Carson, 7th round pick, one of the top running backs in the league when he's healthy. You feel what I'm saying? You can't, there's shit that you can't plan for. So the only thing you can do is you got to keep trying at your best with calculated risk to try to put your team in the best position. So all this adage is like, nah, we can't. Listen, I can't. I can sit here and talk till I'm blue in the face, bro.
I know.
So this is just the first. We done went 20 minutes on, and we ain't really talked about nothing else but Russell Wilson.
And you know what, Pete? This isn't going to be the last time we talk about Russell Wilson on this show this offseason. It's going to be a hot topic all year. But you're absolutely right, and it's like I know there's risk with Russell Wilson trading for him. All right, even if we only trade a first round of this year, first round of next year, and a third for him, there is risk, and the risk is his age. That's the main risk. He's going to be 34, right? He's 33, about to be 34. So he has, 3 to 5 years left? So that's your window, right? So that's you trade for him.
Yep.
You're essentially saying, hey, we only have a 3 to 5 year window max. So that's understandable, and I get it because he's older. I don't worry, I completely understand it, and it's a valid concern. It's a valid concern. However, I am absolutely taking that risk over what people don't understand is there's also a risk in not going for it because you can go ahead and build the team, but then you are also taking on the risk of not being able to find a franchise quarterback.
And when in that window, when you have these young talent, these three first round picks, having that young talent, and let's say they make the impact and they live up to everything they're supposed to be. Guess what? Then you have 3 first round picks who all come expiring at the same time, who are all going to want to get paid, and yet you still don't have that franchise QB.
Yeah, it's not like you can. It doesn't work out perfectly all the time for you in terms of
Either way you slice
I have a great team now. Now I want a franchise quarterback. Let's go get it now. It doesn't work like that. When you have an opportunity somehow to get a guy like Russell Wilson, you have to, and if you have the assets and the resources to, you go and get him. You go and get him. So I think that it's so easy. It kind of like it annoys me whenever I see online people say, "Oh no, we're not a QB. We're not only a QB away." That's such a lazy thing to say. That's a lazy thing to say. It's just laziness. I understand the concern about his age, and I would never like shrug that aside. So there is risk, but to me, I'm riding with that risk way more than the risk of potentially not being able to find a quarterback. Because I don't want to look at all these teams that build their roster, but they can't find a quarterback. Look at Denver. Ever since Peyton left and retired, they've had pretty decent teams, but they don't have a quarterback. They can't.
Not yet.
Exactly. But that's my point. That's my point. And again, like the age thing, Matt Stafford he's not young.
Nope.
Matt Stafford.
He's been in the league for 11 years.
Yeah. Just won a Super Bowl as a 34. What? He's like 34, 35?
30. I think he's 34, about to be 35.
So he's a year older than Russell Wilson. Like, God, like, just do it. If the opportunity is there, like, this is an opportunity that teams don't come across too often.
Right. It's the perfect marriage. Like, I don't think, and I can kind of see the side of it when I phrase it in this context, that some fans are like, okay, well, this is the most resources we ever had with cap space, with picks. Let's go use those for a proven commodity. I can also see the other side of that perspective where it's like, this is the most resources we ever had with cap space and picks. This is our chance to really try to reset this thing and build something. Now, this is where those people, those are the ones where I think they're more the TTPers. Those are the trust the process, and this is what you've been building for. Let's really build something. To answer Don's question, what's more of a risk, Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson? Deshaun more of a risk because you don't know when he's going to play for you.
Exactly. That's why.
And that's simply put. Russell, you don't know. It's a risk because you don't know what player you're going to get. You have to give up more assets. And the biggest thing we're not talking about, one of the biggest things that comes attached with that asset of Russell Wilson is the $51 million in cap and $51 million in salary for over the next 2 years. Yeah. But even that $51 million over the next 2 years, if you're paying your QB, who you feel to be a top 10, top 5 QB, only $25 million per year, that's not a bad deal. Deshaun's deal is great for somebody as young as he is, but you don't know when he's going to play.
Yeah, I know.
You don't know when he's going to be available. So, and it probably is going to cost you the same picks. Now, you can, even the people in this fan base who don't want Russell Wilson, you can sell them on Russell Wilson because he can actually get on the field. But if you trade 2 firsts and a first next year, ultimately 3 for a player in Deshaun Watson, and he can't play for you, that's a tough sell to a fan base.
It's a very tough sell.
You see what I'm saying? So to get off Russell Wilson, you have anything left on Russell Wilson?
No, I don't know if you want to answer his Don's other question.
It's Russell. For me, it's Deshaun Watson because, like I said, you don't know when he's going to be available to you.
Yeah.
If you're just talking player for player, then it's Russell Wilson. But
if you're talking about
Deshaun's younger and he has more room to grow, but with Deshaun, I'm not going to sit here and be like, Chucks, I want to buy this from you, and you tell me was 12 to 16 weeks away before you can receive it. Most people ain't going to do that. You know what I mean? Unless it's a large purchase and it's a car or something like that. But you know what I mean? That's just like that's saying, I can tell you, Chucks, give me $5,000. I'll give you $50,000 maybe back in 5 years. You feel what I'm saying? Like that's just a tough sell. So for me, just straight football wise, right now, I think Deshaun's a better player, but Deshaun's also a player that hasn't played.
So much,
you don't know when he's going to play.
Mark. So so much question mark. That's why I'm not touching him. Too much unknown and question marks around his situation. Rodney Hunter says so delusional thinking. Russell and Watson want to come here for real. They will waive their no trade clause for us. Hell, Watson already did. I say we both. He says I say we both do the draft and free agency, and next year go after a QB. First of all, we didn't say it was realistic that
is he saying we are delusional, or so he's saying he's framing the context that, so let's just say if Russell and Watson want to come here, if you can clarify, because I see your follow-up.
I think he's saying we're delusional to think Russell and Watson will want to come here. Again, you gave the odds of, you said it's about a 25% chance that Russell comes here. I didn't get to answer the question. I think most likely that Hurts is going to be our starter next year. I don't think it's a good. I think the chances are slim. Also, I'd say about like 25 to 30% chance that Russell Wilson will get here. So I don't think it's likely at all. We were simply framing it from the Eagles standpoint that if you are able to go get a Russell Wilson, go get him. If he wants to come here, waive his no trade clause to come here, you have the assets. It makes sense. Go get him. But we never said that it was likely. So that's that. But and again, if you're listening to us, Rodney, you say you built through the draft and free agency, go after a QB the following year. Well,
so before you answer this question, right? Before you answer this, I just looked up 2023 NFL free agent QBs, because I'm not. Oh, he said not y'all. He's asking not y'all, just fans. I mean, they could be, but 2023 free agent QBs: Kirk Cousins, Jimmy Garoppolo, Matt Stafford, who at that time would be age 36, Derek Carr, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, and then I'm not even going to go down the rest. So out of any of those, outside of Kyler Murray, if you want Kyler that bad, go fucking get him now.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like you talk about somebody that's unfollowing all that shit, but then that could be a whole another issue on your hands.
Yeah, there's a lot of questionable things going around about
all Kyler I'm Murray. Saying is, and Thomas, when he says, "What's up, boys?" El Jefe in here to build it. I wish he could hop on, because I need somebody else up here with me, and I know Chucks is here with me, that knows what it is like to watch bad football and you trying to build something.
QB, yeah.
Because you know what that does at that time. Say they do what Rodney Hunter says, right? Say they do build through the draft and they get free agency, and you don't see any improvement. You know the pressure on those draft picks that you're going to take in the first round, how much more immense it's going to be. You see what I'm saying? So it's there's no easy answer, but at the same time, you can't shoot yourself in the own foot and say, I don't even want to get in the game because the game is not. I'm not good enough to win the game.
Yeah,
you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's tough. I mean, you gotta, if you don't believe in Jalen, right? I get it, and you want to give me 2022, I get that as well. But at the same time, when you have an opportunity to upgrade at the QB position, right? Any NFL team is going to take their due diligence, and if they had the resources. And the other thing is, you're not depleting your resources if you do pull up a trade.
Exactly.
Once again, we keep phrasing that like you can't just give away everything. But you have when's the last time any team had 3 first-round picks in the NFL draft?
I don't even know.
I've heard of 2 numerous times. I've never heard of 3.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're looking at the draft, okay, so you have like what, Bryce Young and CJ Stroud are the top 2 projected, and they look to be high caliber prospects, right?
Right.
What makes you think we'll be able to get them in the draft?
Don says a perfect point. He says, Pete, how about having a good QB, Matt Stafford, for 11 years, and not having anything around him? He just lived that. And in the first year, that breakup he's been going, guess what? That bitch done hit the mountaintop. He done hit the pinnacle.
Yeah.
He said on Sunday, February 13th, I'm going to Disney World.
I'm going to Disney World. Well, I think
So
he went to Disneyland, but
it's just there's so many steps. And listen, the thing is, there's so many steps that got us to this point, right? To get the team in this position. Because I'll sit here and tell you right now, if they ultimately end up keeping all 3 first-round picks, defense, maybe a Jameson Williams, maybe a Treylon Burks, but 2 of those 3 picks got to be defensive. It has to be, because your defensive line shambles. You don't know where you're gonna get pressure from. You feel what I'm saying? And you'd be lucky if David Ojabo, Aiden Hutchinson ain't gonna be there, but David Ojabo may be there. You can't move up far enough to go get Kayvon Thibodeau out of Oregon, because then you're gonna give it too many resources.
Yeah,
I mean, while he's a good player, I don't think unless it's a Kyle Hamilton or somebody like that starts to slip, I don't think there's a player up in that top, or Aiden Hutchinson. There's not enough stock in there for me to move up. And there's that player to move up, for me to give up 2 picks to move up 1, to move up to jump. I'm not that player's not there.
Yeah. Let's see.
If you're looking wide receiver free agency, Roddy Hunter, you're probably not getting Mike Williams. It's going to cost too much.
Or he might get tagged.
You're probably looking at somebody like a DJ Chark. I'm telling you right now. Which I
wouldn't mind. Allen Robinson, I keep saying Allen Robinson to me is the one that makes more sense. I think Allen Robinson would be cheaper than a Chris Godwin or Mike Williams. He'd be cheaper, but he's still high end talent. So I'm on the A-Rob train, but like a lot of people are. But let's talk a little bit about free agency, and then I know. Well, you know what? Don did ask this question. Here, do y'all think the NFL Combine is overrated? You want me to start?
You go ahead, because I think we think alike on these things, so I think you're probably going to be rated around the same way as me.
I think that the NFL Combine is severely overrated.
Okay,
for what it's portrayed to be. I
like that spin.
So I think that the NFL, media-wise, they portray it to be something. And you've got a lot of fans, a lot of casual fans, a lot of fans who don't really I'm trying to be respectful here, but who don't really know what they're looking at when it comes to the Combine. They see certain things and they overrate a lot of aspects of the Combine. When you have the Combine, like the most, when you hear NFL Combine, what's the first thing you think about, Pete?
40 time.
Yeah. Now, I'm here to tell you, the 40 time, a 40-yard dash time for a player doesn't mean jack squat unless if maybe you're a wide receiver
or a DB. Wide receiver, DB, linebacker. That's it.
That is it. Like,
that's it.
It means jack squat. It means nothing. It means nothing. But that's the most popular event. And people, like, whenever we talk about a player and their speed, and then whenever I see a fan say, "Oh, but they ran this in the 40," it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter.
Don said, John Ross.
John Ross. Like, it doesn't matter. Let me tell you this. And in no way am I saying I'm a draft expert. I would never put that title on myself. I am not a draft expert. I focus on running backs when it comes to the draft because that's my favorite position. But I'm still severely flawed and still learning about other positions in terms of evaluating and scouting, especially coming from college to the pros. Once they're in the pros, I'm a little bit better at it because I know, like, I'm aware of situation, talent, and everything like that. But from college, where I don't really watch college, it's harder for me. So I completely get it. Like, I'm not a draft expert, but I study the draft very, very, very intently. I study it, and I follow a lot of people that really know what they're talking about. The NFL Combine, the most important aspects of the NFL Combine are stuff that you do not see or hear about. The medicals and the interviews are the most important things when it comes to the Combine. But we don't hear anything about team interviews. Nope. We don't hear anything about a player's medicals and if there are any medical red flags until afterwards. We don't get a full report on them. What we get are results of testing and workouts that really don't mean a lot. So 40-yard dash doesn't mean much if you're not a defensive back or wide receiver. And then if you want to measure, look, any part of the 40-yard dash, if I'm going to really put a lot of stock
What
into
is it?
it's going to be the 10-yard dash.
The 10-yard split.
10-yard split. But they don't even track that. Like, that's not made public. Okay? It's not made public. The broad jump, the long jump, the vertical jump.
The vertical jump.
Vertical jump. Okay. It measures explosiveness a little bit, but it doesn't really tell me too much. The 3 cone, the shuttle run, not
Big
every player
for
runs
defensive
it.
linemen. Big.
Not every player runs it. So how am I supposed to tell?
Because why is that, right? Because now this is what you get. You get a system, right? From the play, you get a manufacturing system from the players that are entering the system that runs it, and on to the next step, right? Because now a player knows they've done a 3-cone drill. They probably did it at pro day. They probably did it at practice. And like, well, listen, I'm 6'5", 280. My 3-cone drill is like piss poor shit in the bottom percentile, but my 40 is in the top percentile. So I'm gonna the media is gonna hype me up because well, X player runs 4.67 40 and is 290, 300 pounds. There's one channel I'll follow on TikTok. I'm gonna give him a free plug here. It's Everything Italian, and they always do these things where they do underrated, overrated, perfectly rated. Okay, so to piggyback off what you said, the NFL Combine for the what they portray it as severely overrated, right? Medicals and the evaluations, I would say that's perfect. That's perfectly rated because of what they're used for.
Yes.
3-cone, broad jump, 10-yard split. Those tests severely underrated because listen, if y'all watching this and we're entertaining, we love y'all. Keep rocking with us, and I want Chucks to answer this question for Rodney Hunter next, because we literally just talked about this in the chat.
Yeah, we did.
The combine itself is good for the skills which you can relate to real life football. Nobody's going to fucking run a 40-yard dash without being touched. No wide receiver is going to do that without any contact. That's why that 10-yard split. How quick am I in that 10 yards where I can break a bitch down?
Your burst. That's your burst.
That burst and accelerate. 3-cone drill for defensive linemen. That's you take that. How agile can he move? How can he angle to get to the spot? Broad jump, explosiveness. Vertical jump, high point the ball. Those are the drills you want to look at, and even because you can find this information, they're not going to show it on TV. And if they do, it's probably going to be one segment, maybe 2. You're definitely going to see 40 passes, this, all this, others. Go look at those. If the players that you like, and I think the combine is what, 2 weeks?
It is
Is it next weekend?
It's next weekend.
Next weekend. So when you watch it, take the players that you like, go find those results or try to find when they're performing. You can watch it live or look back and watch how those are the drills that relay and portray to the NFL on game day. Yeah. Everything else don't mean jack shit.
It doesn't. And put it like there's one thing that I was taught when it comes to the combine and what you're looking for. You always trust the film over the combine.
Mm-hmm.
What you see on the field from the player should be the end all be all. Right. What you use the combine for is like the supporting tool. Okay, so if you see on film that a player plays fast, and then they go to the combine and they perform fast, it's a lock. Okay, if they play fast on the field and they have a slow 40 time, that doesn't mean your opinion of that player should change.
Right.
All that means is, okay, the information is different at the combine testing. Now I have to go back to the film and see if there's something I missed. Was there something I missed where I felt like he was faster than he really is? Or is the combine outcome just an outlier? And were there circumstances behind the performance at the combine that resulted in their poor performance. That's what you do. That's how you look at the combine. It's a supporting tool, but in no way should it be the
Don't
main
make it an
tool.
ultimatum for your decision.
Yeah, you shouldn't. And then you wanted me to answer Ronnie Hunter's question. I do want to say, I want to give thank you, Don. He says, I can't lie, Chuck's running back evaluation is top tier. I greatly appreciate that, Don.
He likes the position he physically can stature to relate to. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Listen, people, I'm telling you, I've seen his calves in person. Like, oh my God. Like, I don't know how this calves, the calves is the biggest muscle in his body, yo.
It is. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. But I appreciate that, Don. That I really do, and I'm always trying to. I always work hard to get better and better at evaluating running backs. So I do appreciate the support and love. Ronnie Hunter says, "How do you feel about Robinson, running back from Alabama?" I just got done studying him. I think yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
With Robinson, I'll say is this: he is a big back. Tall, muscular build. I think he has pretty good agility and footwork for his size. He doesn't have, in terms of explosiveness, getting laterally or vertical, it's not that great. He's not going to cover a lot of ground in that short area, but in terms of footwork and agility, he's not bad. Like, he can make some impressive cuts. And so, like, he's more than capable of doing what's necessary in the backfield. And he has good body control. And that's why I say his agility is not bad. Like, he can make people miss because he gets his weight under control, and then he'll stop and start with relative ease to make defenders miss in that way. Now, if he's going full speed, he still requires a couple steps to gear down before making that cut. But if he's under control behind it, like after the mesh point, after the snap, if he's under control and there's a penetrating defender, he'll easily make a really impressive cut. What I will say about Robinson, though, that kind of doesn't impress me is he doesn't have great contact balance, and his power to break and shed tackles is lackluster for a guy his size. Like, I don't see him break and shed tackles at a rate that I would expect. Like, I see too many shoestring tackles where guys wrap him up at the lower body and then bring him down through, on his feet, by his feet. I see too many of those. I see too many where it's just he makes first contact and then he's tackled. Now, the good thing is he does have a lot of power in terms of pushing a pile forward. So he'll get contact, and he's so strong and powerful that he'll push multiple defenders forward and always fall forward for extra yards, which is really, really good. That's awesome. But in terms of creating yards for yourself, the elite running backs, and I always say this, one of the traits that separates elite running backs or great running backs from normal guys is creating for yourself. Part of that is being able to make defenders miss, either with power and contact balance, by shedding tackles, or eluding them, making them miss with quickness and agility.
What do you think about his run height? Do you think he runs too high?
He runs high. And so he doesn't force enough missed tackles. He'll fall forward and push a pile, but he doesn't make defenders miss. So for that reason, he's not as high. I put him right now. I have him at like a round 4 grade. I take him early on day 3 because I think he's a safe pick. I think that he can be a good complementary running back to a committee, because he'll definitely have a role. So I think he's a good interior runner who will give you those tough yards. He's like, in that sense, he's kind of like Jordan Howard in the sense as he'll consistently get you 4 or 5 yards, but he's not going to be someone who can create for you. And he does need work in pass protection. His technique is bad. His awareness is bad, and he doesn't have the best hands. So he doesn't really give you anything on third down. But if you're looking for an in-between tackles runner on day 3, he's someone I'd look at.
But like his floor is here, and his ceiling's like right here. Like he's almost there. He's almost like I could see Tennessee possibly drafting him because it's just another gear when you want to give Derrick Henry a blow. You don't really have to change too much. Yeah. So Donda's not going to like this because I know who your number 1 running back is already. But he asked about I'm assuming he's an Ann Arbor fan. So he asked about Hassan Haskins.
Haskins.
Have you done Haskins yet?
I've done Haskins. Where's his comment? Did he say a comment from?
It's like 4 or 5 up.
Here we go. Yeah, done that. I'm a homer, so I wonder. Okay, yeah, Hassan Haskins. I put him in the same tier as Robinson. What I like about Haskins, he runs a little bit lower, and I think that he does have a little bit more explosiveness to his game. But again, he doesn't create enough. Like he doesn't force enough missed tackles for me to put him into day 1 or 2 consideration. But I do think he's a safe. He's another high floor guy. He'll give you the tough yards. He's an in between tackles runner, consistent. I don't think he has the same power as Robinson, but he has a little bit more agility and explosiveness to him. But they're still not enough for me to consider him like a special athlete. So he's a safe guy. Again, I consider him around round 4 is what I'm looking at. He's also, I see here, he has about James Cook. James Cook is fast. He is fast, and you'd expect that because he's a skinny guy. Like he's like 190, 195. Skinny guy. They use him a lot on gadget stuff. So I liken him to like he's the type of running back you'll see like a JD McKissick or Jerick McKinnon, super fast, but you cannot expect him to be any type of guy that you would hand the ball off to and run the ball like 10 to 15 times a game. You can't. He's a complimentary guy. He's a gadget guy. That's going to be his role, but he's super fast, so he's going to find a team that needs speed. So that's the type of thing that you're going to get from him. So that's I think that Todd Womack was saying Cook also. Mm-hmm. Iowa State is that we
talked about him.
Breece Hall?
We did him early. Oh shit.
We're talking about Breece Hall, right?
I think so, yeah.
Iowa State running back.
Breece Hall. Yep.
I want to save my thoughts on Breece Hall for a little later when it gets closer to the draft. So Todd, like, bring him up again. I will say this though, I do think highly of Breece Hall. Yes. I do think highly. He is going to end up as a top 5, definitely a top 5 back. I think that's obvious. I think that's a little bit of an obvious statement, but he is in the top 5. He should be top 5 discussion in anyone's board. So he's one of the better running backs in this class. I just want to save my final thoughts on him. Because my initial, when I studied his first few games, I wasn't too impressed, but the more I watched, the more subtleties and nuances I saw in his game, and I saw some more things I liked. So I liked him more and more as I watched him more. So he's high up my rankings. Ask me again in a few weeks, and I'll I don't want to give away all my thoughts yet on some of these top guys, but some of these day 3 guys that I'll definitely talk about.
Like heavy draft for us is probably going to be second week. So when we take the break next week, that show coming back, that's going to be after the combine, free agency preview, and then has some heavy drafts because that's usually when I start to get into my film study too. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and hopefully by that time I'll have most of the running backs done. I have about 10 or 11 done now. There's a lot of running backs in this class, so I'm about halfway done, I'd say. And then hopefully I'll be able to start other positions too. I think I'm gonna get into wide receivers next. But yeah, Jake says Chuck's Cavs are a thing of legend.
They are.
Don says I got Swift, Jamal Williams already, so I'll take a chance on a Robinson or Haskins. Yeah, I mean, like, Bring them in as as RB3 behind them for now. That's that wouldn't be a bad move at all. Wouldn't be a bad move at all.
I mean, you got Anthony Lynn there, so I mean, that's not.
Yeah. You need to run them
you
all.
plug and play running backs, and you also got Deuce Staley there. So
Yeah.
I would love to be a running back in that system.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Like I said, we only did one segment here for off season, but we have plenty of time to dive into the off season. There's a lot of off season coming up, a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about free agency. We're going to talk about the drafts in a few weeks. Oh, Don does bring up a good point. Anthony Lynn did go to United. That is right. I forgot about that. They did hire him as an assistant, I think, coaching assistant to that's
wow, that's scary.
They still have Deuce. I think Deuce being there is key. So I wouldn't be it's not too much of a loss. All right, Pete. Anything else you want to cover before we head into our final segment?
Nah, man, we kind of hit it. I'll leave this with this offseason. I don't think we've someone said, I think Philly fan 2665, if he's still in here, he said it earlier where he said the playoffs this year were probably the best playoffs as a whole outside of our game.
Yeah.
And I think the offseason this year has a chance to rival that same sentiment as far as just being crazy. When you have this many power players where their spots and their futures are undecided, a lot of things can happen. I mean, like I said, from the Eagles standpoint, I think Mike Williams and Allen Robinson will be out of their price range of what they're comfortable spending. DJ Chark, I think, will be there, but he's dealt with a lot of injuries the past 2 seasons, soft tissues and things of that nature. But I still think he's only like 25 or 26 years old. Big person to watch for. I can't remember his name right now, but it's the safety out of New Orleans. That's my number one priority.
Marcus Williams
fits this defense so well. And you need that. If I'm Howie and they're looking at their board for free agency, I would probably be pretty confident saying he's in the top 2, top 3. Marcus Williams.
I would love Marcus Williams here. And that's even more important too, because I have a feeling Jesse Bates is going to get re-signed.
Either that or tagged.
Or tagged. I think Bates is going to be staying with the Bengals, which sucks. I personally would want Bates over Williams, but no way would I complain about Williams.
No, and then and if you're feeling really freaky for Marcus's, then you go get Marcus May too.
That's true. Jake says Marcus Williams is going to want top dollar, but I'd love to get him. I mean, like
we can top dollar one slot. I would.
Yeah.
As much as we don't have safety talent here, Jake. Listen. So.
Yeah.
But that's
already. Let's get into it.
Fourth quarter is brought to you by Gleason's Bar, which is located at 6700 Mill Creek Avenue, 11-Town, PA. Use promo code A2D for 10% off your order wherever you dine in, take out, or order online at www.gleasonsbarandsteaks.com. I think the www is just kind of implied now. So yeah, I just feel like I need to say it. So
all good.
No huddle, man. Anything you want to get off your chest for no huddle?
Well, first of all, I am so excited for Batman next week.
Okay.
For those who don't know, like we said at the beginning of the show, top of the show, P and I will be watching the Batman next week. So there will not be a show next week. He's actually sitting. I bought my tickets and he was like, "What seats you getting?" I told him what seats Mary and I usually get. We usually get the same seats every time we go to the movies. We usually get the way our theater is. They have so you got the main section, right? And then they have rows of 2 seats on the sides. We like to be away from people. All right. So we like to be comfortable away from people. So we always sit on the side. So we sit in row D. This is the 4th row. Those are our seats. We've watched every single movie at that AMC theater in Deptford in those seats. So I told him, there's the seats we usually get. And so when the Batman tickets went on sale, those are the tickets I bought. And then 2 seconds later, he comes at me with a picture, a screenshot. He got the seats right behind us. So we will be seeing the Batman next week. And then let me
Yes.
tell you, I am so excited. And I really feel like this movie is going to be a breath of fresh air because it's going to give us an aspect of Batman in the films
Yep.
that we haven't seen yet. And I love the direction they went to. Matt Reeves really he really did a great job of setting a tone for a Batman film that is so fitting.
Yep.
And going with a narrative and a setting where he's a young Batman and everything else that falls in line with it just seems perfect. Like I hope it's a great movie. Early reactions say it's a great movie, but like I just saw on Twitter right now, I'm gonna reply to it, but like they were saying like which Batsuit would you prefer? Which one's your favorite? The Ben Affleck Batsuit or the Rob Pattinson Batsuit? I like the Ben Affleck Batsuit better, but I want to give props to this suit because while it's not the most aesthetically pleasing,
It looks very functional.
it's functional, but you also got to remember that this is supposed to be close to like year one type of Batman. So he's young. All the stuff is new to him. So this is like compared to like the Mark One suit for Iron Man when the first Iron Man came out. Like it's not the best looking suit that he ever had, but it's his first one. So this is Batman's first suit. So you have all this stuff. It looks like it's not the most impressive looking suit, but it makes sense. You have the element of the armor, so it's bulletproof.
Right.
You have a cowl that looks like it's homemade. Like everything looks like, even with the Batmobile, it's a freaking car. Like it's just a car that's souped up.
Yeah.
And it's not what we've been getting with
So
the Dark Knight trilogy or the DCEU Ben Affleck
right.
Batmobile that's like a big tank, which functionally makes sense because you want to overpower people. But in terms of this movie, what they're looking for, that low class, like, hey, like I'm just driving a souped up car. It makes sense. It makes perfect sense. So I'm really excited. I love the direction it took with this. I hope that it lives up to the hype, and it's tough because I have such high expectations for it. But I'm so excited for it, and hopefully in 2 weeks when we come back, we'll be able to talk about it a little bit.
What's up, Wilson? Brian Wilson from our flagship A2D on Sunday nights and all other Willie Vegas. I don't know what Willie Vegas is going to be doing until I know there's some basketball plays, things of that nature, but I wouldn't say it's more important, but I feel like as we talk about No Huddle, we take No Huddle seriously, right? We want to do our research. Now, what kind of host would we be if we didn't go out here and study the content that we want to talk to you guys about, right? Like, we can't do that. Like, y'all can't see it before us. Y'all can see it with us, which I wish that could happen. But I mean, we need to see it too, right? We need our study material. I liked the way you framed it, is that I feel like we've seen all these Batman movies where he already has his somewhat shit together, where he's already the head of Wayne Enterprises. He's already established. He's already known, where this movie is setting the tone to where everything is primitive. Everything is new to him. He's growing with these responsibilities. I'm very interested to see where he's at in Wayne Enterprises, if he's even running it at that point. So I'm very keen to see not just him as Batman, but him as Bruce Wayne. We talked about that before because this is a very adolescent Bruce Wayne. So these are things that you're going to probably see him make mistakes that you haven't seen in other films, show emotions that he hasn't shown in other films, to where we've seen it in the trailer. He loses his cool. How many other Batman movies have you seen him lose his cool like that? On just a regular Joe Schmo. On the Joker, obviously the Joker brings that shit out of you. You feel what I'm saying? But on a regular crony, like a regular jobber, he's never done that before. He knows his place. He knows how much effort to put into the people he captures. So I'm very interested to see that. That's really all I have. You pretty much hit the nail on the head with Batman. Why we're excited to see it. Don, be prepared to lose your mind. I mean, he says it here. So I'm gonna lose it if that's Professor X in the Doctor Strange movie. I have it on good authority.
I'm pretty sure it's.
I'm pretty sure it's him. All right. That's
he has a
one.
distinct voice. He's one of
Yeah.
those actors that has a distinct voice. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure.
Yeah. So other than that, man, listen, praying for y'all, Ukraine. Oh boy, it's crazy. I'm praying for y'all, Russia, because the crazy dude is running y'all too. I don't know what's going on. I felt like it's 1922 all over again. I'm like, dude, I text my boy. It's like, he works for the DOD, and I'm like, yo, is this 1922? Like, I didn't think invasions of countries can happen anymore. You know what I mean? And
right. Invading another country.
Like, I felt like I was in history class. Like, am I reading this correctly? Like, what do we? I don't know. I just pray. I pray for all those involved. I'm pro-life.
Yeah.
Let's work it out. Whatever it is. I don't know. Uncertain times.
Uncertain times. It is kind of scary.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do pray for all of those, and it's like it's
the villains in what, Rodney? In the new Batman?
The Riddler. And
yes. Oh my God. We may be on here for another 15 minutes by Don's next question.
Riddler and Penguins and the Penguin.
And the Penguin is isn't it Colin Farrell?
Yeah.
And that does not look like Colin Farrell
at all. At all. Talking about transformation, man.
It's crazy. And the kid that's playing the Riddler, his name is escaping me now.
Yeah, I forget his name, but he's been in he always plays like the nerdy guy.
Yes. He gives you Michael Cera type vibes, but he's bigger in stature.
Yeah.
He's taller, he's bigger in stature.
But I think I'm gonna like his rendition of Riddler. I don't know if you read it. You probably didn't. I'm probably the only soul in the world that read the book. But
for year one,
there's a no. There's a preview, not a preview, what do you call it? There's a book that came out that's supposed to set up the movie. It's specifically for the movie. It's a short book. I listened to it on audiobook, and it explains the backstory a little bit of the Batman and the Riddler. So real quickly,
that's Paul Dano. That's who it is.
Yeah, there you go. So the Riddler apparently was an orphan, and he has this vendetta against the Wayne family, especially Bruce Wayne, because he sees Bruce Wayne as a privileged kid, and so he grows up and has this vendetta against them, and is just he gets brought up in he has nothing. He has close to nothing, and he's always the outsider. So he starts to do these things, and that's how he becomes Riddler, because he almost kills someone by sabotaging their car. He burns down his old orphanage, and stuff like that. And so he's starting to really get into the crime life. Bruce is, I'm not sure they'll explain it in the movie, but it's he grew up, obviously. Alfred raises him, but he's trained by Alfred, and he doesn't necessarily know. He doesn't know who the Riddler is, his character. In passing, they have it's interesting how they do it, but their first and only meeting, I guess you can say, or interaction, was when they were very young, and Bruce sees the Riddler as a boy, right? They're both young. He sees the Riddler across the room, and he wants to be friendly because he sees the Riddler he sees him as oh, he looks sad and everything. So Bruce smiles and waves at him, right, to be friendly. But the Riddler's character as a boy, he completely takes it in a different way. He sees Bruce smile at him, and he's like, oh, look at him. He's rubbing it in my face that he has everything. He's so smug and arrogant. So it's really interesting, the fact that one gesture has two different points of views and sends these two kids on different paths. You know what I mean? So like it's interesting way how they framed it in the book, but I really like it's really interesting how the Riddler's character is. I really think he's gonna knock it out of the park. I think he's gonna knock it out of the park.
Well, and that's the thing. You have good actors playing in roles that you can kind of relate to. Now, I looked to see who was playing Carmine Falcone. I think it's I always called the dude from S7. I can't never remember his name. He played the agent in S7 from the first Transformers movie. I can't remember his name. I think it's Turturro something.
Something Turturro. Oh,
I want to say it's not John Turturro.
Let's see. Hold on.
That's a different actor. Yeah, Don. I watched that new trailer too. Nope. I don't know if you've seen that trailer, the new Jordan Peele one. It's a scary movie, but it's about aliens.
Yeah, we want to see it.
Okay.
We definitely want to see it. And Mary, the thing is, Mary is not like she's not too much into
me either, bro.
Into horror films.
Nope.
But she saw that, she's like, "Oh, I want to see it." I'm like, "Are you sure?" It's like it looks like a horror film involving aliens. She's like, "No, I still want to see it." So it took her forever to watch Get Out. Like she was really scared. Like she was worried it was a horror
Get Out to me wasn't really scary.
No,
it wasn't more scary than us. And them.
That's what I said. I was like, no, Get Out's not a horror movie. It's not a horror movie. It's like a psychological thriller. It's not a horror movie.
It trips you
she
out.
Watched it. She really liked it.
You'll never hear a spoon hit a teacup ever again. The same.
I know. Oh my god.
That sound will forever have a different meaning. But we'll end it on this. Don asks us, by the way, have y'all watched Peacemaker? Listen, I want to say this. It's very rare that I'm the first one on the train. I was the first one on the train for this.
He was.
I was riding that bitch, and I was like, yo, y'all need to watch Peacemaker. Chucks, please watch Peacemaker. And then finally, it took the wisdom of his wife, his better half, to hear me in the background and say,
she's right there.
Hey, see, she knew, she understood. Okay, Pete said that, let's give it a try. And then magic happened. It's like Guardians of the Galaxy in a series. It's funny. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but it progresses. And then the way it ended, and I'm like, okay, DC's trying to do some type of conformity here, and let's see how it works out. But I said this to you. I think I said this to you. Peacemaker in itself, the character, before, and I'm not putting these on the same level at all. They're not on the same level because what has yet to come has not been built as what has already happened. That was very profound. I probably will never be able to say that statement ever again in that same tone. But I liken Peacemaker to potentially do for DC film and DCU what Tony Stark and Iron Man did for Marvel, because Iron Man wasn't the most well-known character, but
that is very true.
When Robert Downey Jr. played him, it was just the gravitas towards that character that grew. And that's what Cena and Pete. Remember, you took a dude who the last thing we remember in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Suicide Squad. I'm sorry. Suicide Squad. I don't even remember what the second one was called. The one that came out 2020.
It's called the first one was called Suicide Squad. The second one was called The Suicide Squad.
Okay. So, big difference. But he killed Captain Rick Flag. Yeah. So, all right. So you have a killer who the whole series starts off like, oh, this dude is just bad. He's fucking crazy. And you realize what he's dealing with his dad. And I'm trying not to give spoilers here. His dad's an asshole. You know what I mean? It's not easy. And he wants to change. And then he does change. And then it's a cow from another planet. And it's butterfly people. It's just crazy. But like I'll even do that. At 8 episodes, through 8 episodes, I still felt like it never took itself too serious.
Yeah, it didn't.
That's the beauty about it. You know what I mean? It was like, I don't know. That's what I got from me. And then you set me up when you I don't know. Did Mary hear you record that voice message to me?
No, I didn't tell her.
I was fuming. And
I knew I was gonna get I was gonna get you with that. I knew I was gonna get you with that. But it was hilarious. It was I loved it because like okay, I knock, and Don's gonna love this. I knock
Ooh.
Thor 3 because
I
there's
knew where
too
you were
much
going.
humor, right? Too much humor. I'm just like, it's over the top. It's trying too
Right.
hard. But it's not the humor that I mind. It's like, okay, like you can't force it. I feel like Thor 3 forces it. However, with Peacemaker, it's so over the top, but it doesn't force it. Like what
Yeah.
you said, they don't take themselves seriously.
Right.
And it's a certain kind of humor, but it works. And it's just like the whole time they're making ridiculous comments, they're being dumb as hell, but it just works. The characters work. It really is like you can tell James Gunn's style of comedy and humor. He, it's exactly, it's the same type of humor and dialogue in Guardians, but you put it on a TV series and you give it the R rating so that they can go like even more extreme level, and this is what you get.
Yeah.
And it's it is very entertaining. The intro was exactly what you said. The intro was hilarious. I thought the intro was so funny.
I like
Like that was the whole thing with him and like it was like, you're not a superhero.
Yeah.
God, and then how they, oh my God, like the whole thing. I loved how, I don't care if I spoil it. Go watch it. I don't care. It's been out for a while already. I don't care.
There's nothing like it that I've seen.
Yeah.
It's not like any Marvel series.
I love that he kept throughout the series. He kept throwing jabs at the Justice League characters.
Yes.
He kept throwing jabs at them one by one. And at the very end,
the ultimate payoff.
The ultimate payoff was amazing. Amazing. It was like for 2 seconds, for them being on the screen for 2 seconds and confirming like the one joke. Oh my God, it was hilarious. It was so funny.
It closed the circle, man. It's just
it did. And I really can't wait for season 2. It was so good. And even like the opening credits for each episode, I'm watching and I'm like, what is going on? What is going on?
Like, what am I watching?
We were watching the second episode, and I usually skip credits. So like I skipped the credits, and Mary's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, what? You want to watch the credits? She's like, yeah, I want to see them dance. And I'm like, oh my God.
And then at the end, when he picks up Judo Master, who you have a love for the fine arts of martial arts,
yes,
you definitely love Judo Master's character.
Awesome. The actor is Vietnamese, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I think the actor is Vietnamese.
He's a bad little dude.
And you know what's crazy? They make him look like he's 5 foot tall. In real life, he's 5'6".
Oh shit.
He's 5'6" in real life. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, how is he 5'6"? He looks like he's shorter than me.
Yeah,
he's 5'6". Yeah, it was really fun. Like, it was a great show. I'm glad that you and Mary changed my mind and got me to watch it.
Which doesn't happen often, people.
It doesn't happen often.
It does not happen often.
And you know why? Like when it came to this, I was so hesitant because like I've tried to get into other DC shows,
right?
Like the CW DC shows are
they don't exist anymore, bro. Like they can't.
They suck. I watched the first season of Titans. I like it, but I don't love it. So like I finished season 1. I've been meaning to get into season 2, but I started watching other stuff, and I haven't really gotten into.
You can. I wouldn't say you can skip season 2 because I know you won't do that, but you kind of can. But this season of Titans,
yeah, you told me it was really good. Season 3 was good, so I will resume it at some point. I will resume it. Because I like it. I just don't like. You know what? I told you this before. What really bothers me about the show, this is the one thing, is the actress who plays Raven. I just don't like. I don't like her. Like I don't like. I think she's a bad actress.
And she's not even really in this season that much.
Oh, really? Okay.
Nah, she's not. She's not even really in this season. She is, but she's not like the main
focus. Okay. That gets
the Flash TV show on CW used to be good. Now it used to be, for me, like the early season used to be a must watch. Now not so much. Arrow was like that for the first couple of years, and then it kind of tailed off.
Arrow seasons, the first 2 or 3 seasons were so good. After that, they just dragged on.
Yeah.
Let's jump down.
But
So,
once you put a rated R to something, this gives you more freedom, more flexibility. Like I know the one DC series I've never watched is the Doom Squad. I've never Doom Patrol, I think it is. I've never watched that.
I watched it. It's not my cup of tea. I don't like it. And I know in Titans, because it's a spinoff of the one Titans episode.
Yeah.
The first season. So after that one episode, they made the Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
But yeah, I give it a try. It's just not my cup of tea. I don't really like it. But that's why I was hesitant for Peacemakers. I'm like, DC doesn't have a really good track record of live action TV shows.
Yeah.
I'm not like, but it was good. John Cena was really good. All the actors were great.
Yeah, I feel like the cast was kind of perfect in there. And it's just it didn't seem like it was a super big budget. You know what I mean? And then if you watch the ending credits, they give a blooper reel, and then the one was the cop, and he was trying to be sad, and he couldn't be sad because he fucking kept laughing the whole time. And I'm laughing, and I'm like, you're not supposed to be laughing at it. The whole way that episode ended with everybody walking in the hallway with the smiles on their face was like, it's funny, but it's creepy as hell at the same time. Like it's just like the little nods like that, and that's where James Gunn gets it. But I think obviously he was they kicked him out of. I want to say kicked him out. They separated themselves from MCU with James Gunn because of the allegations back in the day. But I think isn't he coming back?
I don't know.
I thought he was involved in Guardians of the Galaxy 3 somehow, some way.
I don't remember what the decision was on that.
That is in the works now, Don. We just have to figure out the logistics of it.
Yes, we could be getting another episode of the Nerds pod show.
HFTN.
Yeah, HFTN. So yeah, stay tuned for that. It could be coming sooner than later.
Yeah.
I think it was great. Babe, did you want to say anything in terms of the show? I'm asking Mary if she has any input. But it was really good. I'm
it was a Marvel show, and I completely forgot it's DC.
She said she thought it was Marvel at first, but then she was reminded.
Right.
She forgot it was a DC show, and that was good. And hey, it goes to show like what I was saying before when we talked about this like a while ago. DC has to stop focusing on trying to be Marvel,
right? And just
put out good content. Like just put out good movies, good shows. Focus on that first, and everything else will fall into place. Like they didn't even need to show that final cameo. Even if they didn't show that final cameo, that show would have still been amazing.
Yep.
So they don't need to be Marvel in terms of continuity. I mean, it adds to it, but what they should be focusing on is just making great films. You make great films, everything else will fall into place. It'll all work itself out. So I'm glad they're finally doing that. Hopefully the next few movies will be better. I mean, we have Black Adam with The Rock, so I have a little hope for that. What else is coming out? Flash movie's coming out.
And James Gunn he's back as the director for GOTG 3.
Nice. Thank
next
you for
year.
confirming. Good. Which will include Thor, so that should be fun. That should be fun. Wait, no. Does it? No.
I think it may.
No, Thor. Okay, I have it backwards. Thor, the fourth Thor movie includes the Guardians. The Guardians are in it, from what I've heard.
So what we got? We got Batman next week. We got Moon Knight.
Moonlight coming out.
Is it Moon Knight or Moonlight?
Moon Knight
at some point. Then we got everybody's waiting for Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. That's just going to be fucking crazy.
I don't even know what's going on.
That's what I'm afraid of. I feel like it's going to be so much going on. I'm going to have to watch it twice.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know. It just looks cool. I don't know what's going on though. I have no clue what is happening right now, but it looks cool. So I am excited for that. We got this year should make up for the lackluster year we've had the past year or so due to the pandemic. So let's hope. Ronnie says, can't wait for Thor Love and Thunder because of Gore the God Butcher and Doctor Strange 2. I do not know who Gore the God Butcher is. Remember, I'd never read Marvel Comics, so I don't know any of these minor characters.
I think he's the villain of the film.
Is he? Okay.
He looks like a demented Jar Jar Binks, kind of.
Oh my God.
I'm just saying.
Okay. Is what's his face directing it again? The same guy who directed Thor 3?
Stand by.
He's the director again? Because if he is, I gotta prepare.
No, it's Taki.
Yeah, it's the same guy.
Same guy. Waititi.
Yeah, same guy. Oh, great. All right. So over the top comedy. Okay. All right. I'll be prepared. And Jane is going to be back. Natalie Portman is going to be back in this movie. For those who didn't.
Yes. Isn't she supposed to be getting like married or some shit?
In the movie, or are you talking about Natalie Portman?
I thought no. You know what? I'm getting it mixed up because Rachel McAdams is getting married and
Doctor Strange. Yeah,
Doctor Strange.
Don
says my body ain't ready for Doctor Strange. I don't think anybody is.
Everyone said that about Spider-Man too. So
I'm still getting over that, bro. Like,
it comes out soon on streaming and Blu-ray.
Like,
So,
then take that to the fact that Benedict Cumberbatch is like one of my favorite actors of all time. Like, the dude is so good. If you've never watched, if you go watch him as Sherlock and BBC series, book 1, book 2, book 3, great. Martin Freeman, who played Lord of the Rings, I want to say wasn't Frodo. He played in The Hobbit. He was the one that he carried the ring before Frodo carried the ring, I believe. And he's also in MCU as well. I don't know his character name in the MCU, but
was he? Hold on.
Martin Freeman? Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Cumberbatch though.
No.
Okay, yeah, Martin Freeman.
No, so and Sherlock, I think it's called Sherlock or it's called Holmes. It's one or the other. Cumberbatch is Sherlock. Freeman is Watson.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah.
And Watson's love interest at the time was his real life wife at the time.
Oh, okay.
But what's Freeman's character name in MCU? He's an agent for someone.
He's an agent. Oh God, I forget. God, because he was in
Black Panther.
But before that, he made his debut in was it Civil War? No. Yeah. No. Crap. Where did he make his debut in? I think Civil War. I think Civil War.
Yeah, Civil War. You're right.
Civil War. Yeah, he made his debut in Civil War. He was when they got arrested initially. He was the agent there. I forget. Yeah.
So, Roddy says Bilbo Baggins.
Bilbo Baggins.
That's who he was. He was Bilbo.
No, I know he was Bilbo. I was talking about. I didn't know if he was answering like what his name was in MCU.
Oh, no. Don, you have every right not to trust Wanda in this movie.
Oh, she's gonna go haywire. She's gonna go haywire.
It's one thing when we ask for the multiverse, but then we can't handle it. Like, it's just so much shit going on.
You know what also was someone said this was Kevin Feige. I always forget how to pronounce his last name. He just came out a few days ago and said that there are no more Avengers movies. So from now on, the MCU phases, they're not centered around Avengers. I think that's a genius move.
Okay. Because you kind of have that group, and that's that group.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. Like you leave that to that era. Because like the way I've seen it to this point, like it's always felt kind of weird moving forward without Captain America and Iron Man because they were like such pivotal chess pieces. They were such pivotal characters.
This guy
and the whole universe, right? They were so pivotal, and so like two important characters, arguably the two most important characters in the whole universe. They're not having them here felt so weird. It felt just weird. But if you're taking the angle of like, okay, there are no more Avengers and everything centers now around other stuff or the multiverse, I dig that. I think that's a good way. That's a good direction to go because if now you're talking about, okay, let's do another Avengers movie, but Iron Man and Cap aren't in it, that's really weird. To me, that's
Right.
so awkward. That would have been really, really, really awkward and tough to get past. But I'm glad to hear they're not taking that direction. Jake said, before you guys get off, look at what Michael Keaton posted
Oh,
on
you
IG.
dirty son of a
Hold
bitch.
on. I gotta see it now too. Michael
I can't take this shit, bro.
Keaton. Michael Keaton. Where did you just post? Ha! Yes. Oh my god. How am I not following him already? I gotta follow him.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not. It didn't say anything. It's a picture. You on it?
No.
Go to his Instagram. It's a picture. Oh my god! Can't wait. I can't
Dude,
wait for that.
listen, man.
Can't wait.
All like I said, for those, I read more DC comics than Marvel comics growing up. I think as most of us did. Now obviously Marvel with the MCU, the multiverse. At some point, somehow, if we can get Flashpoint Paradox just to create the environment for crazy shit to happen and what we can get the possibilities on screen. But I just want to give a shout out to the generation of people who weren't alpha males, who were laughed at when they were kids, and now we fucking rule the world.
Hell yeah.
That's all. And listen, I wasn't a kid that got bullied like that, and I did some bullying. I felt bad about it, but I always just thought cool shit was cool shit, and this is cool shit. Like I can't front. I literally, after we get done here, I've been watching One Piece, which is an anime. It's great storytelling, but I just found out Vikings Valhalla just released on Netflix, and I've been wanting to see that. I didn't know it came out, and then a new video game just came out. So guess what? My time is going to be spent doing unproductive shit for the next. And I'm probably not going to bed till like 2:30, 3 o'clock.
Yeah, so. I remember being in grade school. My friends and I used to play the Star Wars trading card game, and we were like made fun of. But now look at Star Wars; like everything's like shouting about Star Wars.
Dude, like
Star Wars is cool.
It's in fashion now. All that shit. It's just it is what it is. Like literally, I remember. I think I told you guys there's a fashion company called Kith, and Kith shit is expensive. Like, and they do their releases by week. So it's like a fashion designer, and they did a Star Wars collab. It was like $180 for a sweatshirt, and then they had like the miniature stormtrooper helmet in white and in black, and the Darth Vader helmet. And I was literally about to sit here and spend I'm like, okay, I'm spending $400 on a set of helmets that I don't know what I'm gonna do. What I want to do with them, but I want these bitches. You feel what I'm saying?
I went to Disney World, spent $250 on a lightsaber and a lightsaber belt buckle at Disney World, and I have no regrets. So
exactly. And then I know I sent you the TikTok with the Iron Man mask that's still in prototype that you can't buy yet, but there's an actual Iron Man mask that you put it on. It has a functional flap, and you can say mask on, and that bitch comes on. Listen, dog. I
saw that in an IG video, and I was like, "That is so cool."
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that. Rodney Hunter also says, "We're here real quick. Not superhero related, but Jurassic World Dominion looks good as well." You talk about nostalgia. We're talking about nostalgia and continuity.
Yes.
Seeing Grant, Malcolm, and what's her name? What's her?
Are you talking about the female scientist?
The female scientist, yeah. Now what's her name? I'm mad at myself that I forgot her name. But seeing them three on screen together again, gave me chills. Like, oh my god! Like, talk about nostalgia, because like
Ellie Sadler.
Ellie Sadler, yeah. Because obviously they were in the first movie, but second one it was just about Malcolm. Third one it had Grant and a little bit of Dr. Sadler. But like the three of them together again, finally on screen, it's fitting, and it's a good way to end the series.
And if it's on track to the way it is, it's just going to be like, listen, this is a problem that we made, and now we've had to find a way to live with it.
Yeah.
Even I can't remember his name now. You probably remember his name. The geneticist who made him. Even he looks different. Like he doesn't look like his role in the movie. It's just crazy. I forgot about Dominion, but I've been watching the trailers when they come out, and it's just like, listen, Bryce Dallas Howard. I know she may not tickle some people's fancy, but I just want to say I got a thing for redheads. Listen, dog. I'm just saying, if I ever had the opportunity, you know what I mean, little HP, little hall pass action.
No, she's attractive. What do you think, babe? Do you think she's attractive? Bryce Dallas Howard, the female chick in the new Jurassic World movies. She's looking her up. So
yeah, Don says, Jesus, my money gonna go to look. That Regals pass, like there was no point to do it during the pandemic. It was like $20 or something like that a month. You can go unlimited. Like that may be a value now with all these, because you got to think DC and MCU have to catch up. They have to try to catch up, bro. Like so, missed that. They missed that whole 2020. So that's a benefit to us.
Mary doesn't think that Bryce Dallas Howard's attractive.
I mean, look, like I said, she don't tickle that many people fancy, bro. Like,
wait, you know who is attractive though?
Who's that?
Oh my gosh, what's that freaking movie with Jack Black and
the movie
Rock?
with Jack Black and The Rock?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's talking Jumanji.
About,
Jumanji movies.
Nebula.
Yeah, the actress who plays Nebula. Yes.
Yeah. Karen something.
More attractive version of Dallas or Bryce.
Yeah. She more fit, and then where Dallas Howard looks like she's gonna give you a cherry pie when you walk through the door with
I'm pretty sure. Have you watched Black Mirror on Netflix?
No, I don't like scary stuff, dude.
It's not scary.
I don't like
it's not scary.
Listen, I was working right where I'm at now. I work from my home office, right? And I literally had a spider come down and want to say hello right in the middle of my face, and I almost lost my shit.
Black Mirror is not scary. It's a show. It's an anthology series that twists your mind. Like it makes you think. It's a twisted mind game kind of thing. Like,
all right,
like along the lines of Get Out, but not as dark.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
So I'm gonna leave you with this, right? You said twist your mind, because I was literally watching a show it's a comedian. He does like a show where it's like all pronunciation based. It's called Word in His Heart, and he plays like he's stupid. He can't spell, but his most recent show, the intro was like, it's like if you go into space, because he loves physics. They got talking about their favorite school subjects, and he said physics and science was a shit. And the other dude said, his guest was like, that's all magic. Physics and science is all magic to me. You talk about magic. It's like you don't believe it. So when you go in space, what direction you in? And he's like, north. You don't know north, south, east, or west. He's like, it's all relative. He's like, what do you mean? It's all relative to where you're at, what your direction. You're the one setting direction. And that part didn't blow my mind, but this part will get you. So when we talk about relative, you could apply that to everyday actual things. So if you're a bug and the bug is underneath a desk, how is the bug crawling on the floor or the ceiling?
Wait,
exactly.
If you're wait, say it again. If you are
if you're at your desk and there's a bug and the bug is crawling on the underside of your desk, is the bug on the floor or is it on the ceiling? It's relative. If you're the bug, it's the floor.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Dude, I literally paused the video and sat there like this for like 3 minutes. I'm like, are you serious? Like I've been looking at this shit all wrong.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So you get sports talk, you get draft talk, you get comic books, video games,
you get everything.
And I just hit you with some knowledge.
That's everything. So the reason why I brought up Black Mirror is because she has an episode in it, and in it I was like, she thick. I'm like, she definitely looks thick in here.
Ooh.
Bryce Dallas Howard. She has an episode.
Oh shit! Yeah, I'm gonna watch it now.
Now you're gonna watch it, but she looks thicker in that show than she does in Jurassic World. I had to do like a double take. I'm like what? But yeah,
man.
I'm telling you, Black Mirror is not scary.
Okay.
It just twists your mind, and like in some episodes it's disturbing because it makes you like oh come on, but it's not scary. It's not scary.
How many seasons is it?
The first episode is definitely like disturbing, but not scary.
Okay.
I'm telling you, I wish they'd come out with a new season.
Disturbing and scary is subjective to people. That's why we have so many different types of phobias.
But like, okay, disturbing, like it'll gross you out. Disturbing.
Okay. Okay. Like I've watched The Green Inferno, so that I don't know how much that can, like how much more disturbed I could be.
I never watched Green Inferno.
You never watched?
No.
10 minutes in, dude, you're gonna want to. You're like, what am I watching?
So okay, if you saw a thing like that, then Black Mirror will be nothing to you. Black Mirror will be nothing to you.
Well, I mean, this was live people being killed and eaten, so that's one thing.
Okay, yeah, Black Mirror will be nothing to you. It'll be nothing to you. Like there's also in the latest season, the first episode has has Falcon in it. Like obviously not the Falcon, not like his character.
It's about Anthony Mackie.
Anthony Mackie.
Yeah. Right.
You just have to watch it. Like
okay,
it makes you like like that episode. It bothers me, but also makes me laugh. It also makes me like I think about the episode every once in a while because I'm like, is it really or is it not? Like you just have to watch it. And I wish someone else that was listening like watched that series so they know what I'm talking about. But
I'll watch it.
That episode.
I'll watch it. It sounds like something. It sounds like something a wife would enjoy because she'll watch. Like she watched it, both of them, Pitch Black, Dark by herself. Not my. I'm watching scary movies in the daytime, bitch. I need.
When I watch a scary movie, I have to put that on low volume because it's the noise that gets me.
Yeah.
When they have like the audio that jumps out at you, that's when I'm just like, geez, come on. Like that's what gets me.
Yeah.
It's the music. So I put it on like low volume and I just watch. Because then if I'm just watching it, I'm just like, okay, there's nothing. Yeah. It's the music that gets to me, that pops out.
It's that suspense that builds up and then they pay it off with whatever, dude. Like I don't know. And the people pay for that shit. People like I got one friend, he watches all scary. I'm talking about like he had a shirt. We went out for drinks. He had a shirt of a dude that was like like the Irish version in Ireland franchise of like Michael Myers, like on the shirt. Like, where do you watch this? Like, who seeks and finds this shit? Like, who wants to just keep watching?
Some people love that. Some people they just love that. That's the scary movie. Scary movies to me, they're not like I'm okay with them. I don't go out of my way to watch them. I think they're very predictable, especially like slasher movies. Like I think they're
like the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre just came out on Netflix. I like the character Leatherface. I like it. So I know that's like it's not a dude really around wielding a machine like a chainsaw. At least I hope not. You feel what I'm saying? So. No.
I don't think like slasher movies like that I have no interest in because like it's all the same. It's like people coming into a new town or a new home, like, oh, what is this? And then some slasher comes out.
Too curious, bro.
Kills all of them. I'm just like, okay. Like,
listen, if shit like that ever go down in real life, dog, and you with me, bitch, I start running, just run. Like I know comedians make jokes about that. Black people, I'm running first. I'm asking questions later. I don't know
what it is. I don't know what it is about white people. But white people freaking scary movies. They'll be like, I'm gonna go here by myself, and I'm just like, why would you go there by yourself? It makes no sense. Oh, it makes no sense.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's why Squid Game was so brilliant. Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
I'm just like, no, you do everything the opposite. Like,
Oh man.
You should see me and my wife. Like my wife, she's Native American and white, and she's not. Like sometimes I think the white side be wanting to win, and did that Native American kick in? Because she'll hear a noise and she'll take a step, but then she just stop. Like, nope, nah, fuck that. Literally earlier today, I was working, and I could see the kitchen, and I heard a noise. It's me and the dog. I look at him, he look at me. We both go back to the door. Ain't nobody look. I ain't get up. I ain't gonna see what it was. He ain't gonna see what it was. We were just like, listen. He looked at me like, Dad, if something happened, I'm riding with you, but we ain't gonna go find out. I ain't gonna make it easy. Why am I gonna make it easier for you to get?
Yo, bro. So, oh my gosh, we're getting on such tangents, but we went hiking years ago with my sister, her husband, and my cousins, right, and our friends. We went hiking, and then it was toward the end of the hike, and the four of us, me, Mary, my sister, and my brother-in-law, we were in like this creek area, and it's down a hill. Like you go down, and that's where the creek is. So we were spending time there. Then afterwards, we're walking back up. So we have to walk back up the trail up the hill. So there's a trail, and we're climbing the hill. And my brother-in-law is in front, and then my sister, and then Mary is third, and I'm last, right? So we're climbing up, and Mary stops, and she stops. She's just there. She stops walking. I'm like, what's going on? So my sister looks back. She's like, what? What's wrong? And Mary is just like frozen. She's not saying anything. And then like my sister, I hear her saying like, what is it? What is it? Is it a spider? And Mary like shaking her head, no. And then like finally I see my sister say like, is it a snake? And then Mary like slowly like nods her head like, and keep in mind, for those who don't know, I am deathly afraid of snakes. Deathly afraid of snakes. So when I saw Mary nod her head yes that it was a snake, I was out. Like I was, F the trail. I made my own trail.
I choose life.
I went my own way up the mountain. I was like, I didn't even care. Like I didn't care what was in my way. I made my own trail up the rest of the hill to get back onto the main trail. And I left Mary where she was. Mary was like, I didn't even wait for her.
Did you mention how
you better come over. You get left. Oh man,
Mary was just saying that, like, reminded me that, like, the whole time too, we're trying to figure out, like, okay, where's a good way to get up this hill because it's tough. So we had to find some type of trail to get up. So like in an instant, I'm just like, fuck this, and like, I'm out. Like
I told y'all, them calves ain't no joke, boy. Them calves was in motion. So what kind of snake was it?
I don't know.
It was fat.
It was fat
and spazzing on a rock.
Fat, round, and it was spazzing out on a rock. She says.
Where were you at?
We were at this hiking trail by the Delaware Water Gap.
Was it black?
No, it was brown.
It was brown.
It could have been a brown moccasin.
Or something. I don't know.
Don says just must be black.
Dude, I'm telling you.
He said
you
black.
You got an inert. It's some in you. You got that melanin in your skin, bro. Listen, bitch. We out.
Done.
Dog, I'm no lie. I can complete strangers. I could be walking somewhere, and if I see black people running my direction, I'm running. I don't know what they running from, what's going on, but I ain't finna find out. I'm telling you, bro. I'm not finna find out. I'm not sticking around here and asking nobody like, yo, what's going on? Nah, bitch. I can ask that shit from my car and find out about it on the news, but nope. We not doing that, bro. No, I'm not. See, I'm different to you. I kind of low-key like snakes. I don't like spiders. I don't like in my basement, right? You know, the pallet boards, right? I literally went down there. One of the breakers had jumped. One of my kids was doing something. That's what happens when you got 3 teenage daughters living in the house, right? No lie. I look, I turned on a light, and on the pallet, I seen a spider. From end to end, this spider was the width of one of the pallets that go long ways.
Oh no!
I'm like, that shit can't be real. I turned the breaker, I fixed the breaker, I turned back around, that son bitch was gone. I ain't going to the basement for like 4 months. 4 months. I was not, because I'm like, yeah, I still don't know where he at. I've never seen a spider that big in my life, bro. I was like, I know the spider that eat birds don't go in New Jersey. Like, what is this? Like, this is somebody pet who got loose. Like, they just don't grow like this.
God.
Bro, he can still be down there, bro. As long as me and him don't meet, because the next time I see him, bitch, he can have the house. Fuck that, I'm out. I can't, dude. I can't. Like,
oh my Lord.
When I turn back and when I say he was gone, I'm pretty sure like them Annabelle movies, like Annabelle be sitting in the corner, the bitch will be here doing some shit, the Annabelle move or Chucky. That's how I felt. It was that type of fear that came over my body. And at that moment, I said, yo, I need to move. Like, I need to get up out of here. I need to get back to level ground and see familiar surroundings, because I've been in this basement numerous times.
Oh my God.
Dude, like now, even just thinking about it.
Oh
but the crazy thing with you is I seen it. You didn't even see the snake. You just seen a head nod, and that was enough.
Yeah,
that was enough.
I don't need to see it. I don't need to see that crap. Out.
Just the mere presence of a snake in your vicinity within 20 feet was enough for my man to climb a mountain. He turned into the choir from Sister Act that said, "Ain't no mountain high enough." Oh my God. Who and left his future wife and everything.
Oh,
future mother of his child said, "Listen, babe, I know we got plans, but you on your own with this snake."
Oh man, that was a moment. That was definitely a moment.
But now you know you got two things. You got, I want to say two things. You got three. You got fright, fight, or flight. When it comes to a snake, Chucks is out. That is fright. Mary is fright because she couldn't move.
Yeah, she just stood. She just stood there. She just stood there.
I'm not doing that. I got to do something.
Yeah, I was gone.
I could only imagine that conversation when she got back, when she caught back up with you.
My sister and brother-in-law were dying laughing. They were cracking up.
Like, I never seen you move that fast, Chucks. All you gotta do is put a snake in front of me, like, dog. Like, and now you can get them fake snakes, like they kind of look real. For somebody that don't like snakes, that's not.
They've played so many prank jokes on me.
Please, Mary, please tell me you have some of them on recorded video, please.
She doesn't. There's nothing on me. I feel like eventually there will be, though. Eventually there will be.
Right, I was just about to say that. I said I pray grace it is a witch. That's what he says.
He's the snake, yeah. Speaking of grace,
if Grace is still big enough to get picked up, if still small enough to get picked up, he's gonna be like, "Come on, son, hop to it."
I'll be like, "You gonna learn today how to run."
Dude, like, no lie, right? I say I'm kind of cool with snakes, and this show has completely went left.
Oh yeah,
I had an old barbecue grill cover, right? Probably like a decent 6 by 9 feet, and I was moving it, and all of a sudden I seen this thing just slither out from underneath of it, right? So I'm like, all right, no man, it slithered out from the yard to underneath of that. I knew it was there. Bitch, I set the whole grill cover on fire. I doused that bitch with gas. You thought I was Drew Barrymore, bitch, a fire starter. Set the whole bitch on fire. Like, I didn't know if it probably wasn't no holes in it. It probably still could have been used, but bitch, nah. Set the whole bitch on fire, bro, and let it burn there. And always like she was about to put it out. I was like, nah, I ain't seen him move, because if it get too hot, he gonna come out from underneath there.
Oh,
so he came out from underneath there, and bing bang boom, gone. It's a baby snake. But listen,
no way. No way. Yeah,
I like big snakes. I like boas. I like pythons, all that shit. Like I like the ones I can see. If I'm like, it's true that how an elephant is scared of a mouse. That's how I am. Like I'm bigger than you, but you smaller, which means you can get somewhere out of my vision to where I don't know where you at.
You are.
I don't almost crash my car. Have you ever had the spider? You ever had the spider drop down on you in front of you in the car? And I'm like, Spider, you can see me. Like, why would you want to get eye level with me? You got 8 eyes, bitch. Like, you can see me from all directions.
It's happened to me. I see. Like, I'm not that scared of spiders. Like, if it's like now, like if you're telling me a tarantula gonna walk up on me while I'm driving, yeah, I'm gonna be in a car accident. But like, my old car, my old Mazda, for some reason, it attracted spiders all the time. So I would have, like, I had spiders either like crawl on my dashboard or just like I'm driving and I see my peripherals just whoop, and I'm like, oh, all right, I gotta pull over and I gotta get this thing out of it. Like, I don't know what it was. My old car just loved spiders, but I'm not that scared of them. So
it's fear. Fear is such a harsh word. It's more like I feel like you picking on me. Like I feel like they be bullying me, bro.
Yeah.
It's something about, honestly though, think about it. In scary movies, the old adage, right? We used to see these scary movies with like adult sized people, whatever. But honestly, what would trip you out more, right? If you turn on, you go into the bathroom, if you turn on your bathroom, like you see like a zombie or whatever else like that, it's a full adult, right? Okay, cool. You like my size, I can eye you up. Or a zombie kid. Bitch, that kid, kids is gonna fuck you. That shit fuck you up. Look, they move fast as fuck with their little feet.
Look at Judo Master.
Exactly. Like they just fast as shit. Bro, like I can't. Nope. The devil is a lie. Dada said I was jumped out my car. My Bumblebee was on the passenger seat.
But the ghost ride the whip with that.
Bro, it's nah.
Oh,
that's
man.
crazy.
Yeah.
I thought you was going when you started telling that story. I'm thinking it was a bear, maybe it was like a coyote or something like that. But a snake, I said a snake that you couldn't even see.
I didn't even see.
That holds true to the point. You didn't wait around to see what type of snake it was. You didn't wait around to see if it was real or not. Yeah. You seen confirmation that it was a snake, and bitch, he said, "Listen, my chances of survival is better elsewhere."
It was like all a blur too. Like I the moment she nodded snake and it was confirmation it was a snake, I can't even recall what I ran over. What like
you probably could have ran over another snake and probably didn't even know it.
I was just like, I'm done. Like I'm out. Like I don't know how I was able to get up that hill. I don't know how. Like there was no trail. I just found my way. Found my way.
He Iron Man, bitch, with the protons. Like, I mean, the last time I seen we seen one on the golf course one time, and my boy was driving to my golf ball, and automatically he just turned the fuck around. I was like, "What are you turning?" Remember Jake the Snake Roberts? His first snake was called Damien. He was like, "It's Damien over there." And I looked, it was probably the longest garden snake I ever seen. It was probably had to be like 2 inches thick, and it was like 8 feet long. I was like, okay, he can have that golf ball. That's on him.
That's his. Oh my god. Yeah. I've never come across a snake, by accident like that. Like where it's like what? Yeah, no.
You never seen one in your yard, and no. Like where you live at is pretty developed, so it'd be very rare if you get one there.
Yeah. I've never, like, people always talk about, oh yeah, I see garter snakes all the time in my backyard and stuff. And I'm like, I've never seen one. There's no way. I've never seen one. So
Chucks are coming in the house like we moving.
Yeah, like I'm done.
You can have a house.
I am not stepping backyard at all, ever.
You concrete everything in the backyard, bro. That's why. Like I can't. Like we talk about it off screen. Like we talk about possibly going to Florida, and it's like that's what's like. It's one thing if a snake, right? But Florida got the way we got bees and all these other little squirrels. Florida got lizards like that. I can't.
They do. They do.
I all these little geckos and lizards and all, and then let alone I walk out my backyard or I'm trying to walk out the front door and I got a gator there who's trying to sunbathe.
Oh, yeah.
Nah, dog. I mean, I want to live somewhere where I can play golf all year round, but the further south I'm gonna go probably is like North Carolina, maybe North Georgia. My wife lived in South Georgia for a little bit. She said she was taking my daughter to the park, and they saw a gator. And yo, Don, not real quick. This is it. I don't know how people live in Australia, dog.
I'm never.
You got great whites.
No.
You got great whites. You got kangaroos that's on steroids that'll kick the shit out you and kill you. Then you got every top 10 venomous, deadly spider, snake,
creature,
anything with venom. They got. Like I don't understand how do people find like if I lived in Australia, dog, I'm living in I'm living in the biggest city like it's New York. Like I can't go off my block. That's how I'm living. Everything in my whole world was centered around my block. I'm not going nowhere else. They ain't no going to the Outback. You ever seen Wolf Creek? That crazy dude was out there, the scary movie. And he snapped the chick, severed the spinal cord, that hung the other dude up, let the dogs eat him and all that. Nope. I don't know how people do it.
I don't know either. I've never 7 foot on Australia. Never. Ever going to
everything I touch need to be They got the one spider. I know you probably seen this video. It was a spider that was on the ceiling, and they tried to come at it with a bowl, and it hit the bowl, and the bowl shook.
Yeah.
Landlord, here go the keys, but I'm moving out. I'm gonna pay rent for the end of my lease, but
out. I am out. Nope.
He said that's why Ben Simmons is a punk. It's crazy. It's so unfascinating that you usually don't find soft people that come from Australia, bro.
Yeah.
Usually Australian people, they like listen, they like, bitch, I'm from Australia. Like we live through some shit. Like I see crazy shit that can kill me every day.
Yeah, I don't know how. I really don't know how.
I don't know.
But respect to Australia people. Australians, man. All right, we went 50 minutes over a tangent. That's impressive. That's impressive. But hey, we don't have a show next week, so this makes up for it.
Yeah, we make up for it.
Okay, makes up for it. To everyone that's still listening to this nonsense, and we appreciate you. Thanks for the support. Thanks for sticking with us. Make sure, if you haven't already, make sure you go watch the Batman next weekend so we can have something to talk about.
Yeah.
Even more so on No Huddle next week.
Yes.
But definitely, guys, enjoy the beginning of the NFL offseason. Hopefully, there's some big news that comes over the next 2 weeks that we'll be able to discuss too. Otherwise, we're just going to be taking your questions and saying, "Hey, guys, what you want to talk about?" Because that's essentially we have months of stuff to fill. So we appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate also all of our sponsors, especially our main sponsor, our show sponsor, Manscaped. Remember, guys, get a promo code A2D with Manscaped to get 20% off for myself, Chucks, and for my co-host, my friend Pete. We will see you next week. Make sure you tune into A2D every single day and watch and catch all of the other shows. We will see you guys in 2 weeks. Peace out.
Peace.